Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe.
Let us be aware that while they preach the supremacy of the state, declare its omnipotence over individual man, and predict its eventual domination of all peoples on the earth, they are the focus of evil in the modern world. It was C.S. Lewis who, in his unforgettable Screwtape letters, wrote, "The greatest evil is not done now in those sordid dens of crime that Dickens loved to paint. It is not even done in concentration camps and labor camps. In those we see its final result. But it is conceived and ordered, moved, seconded, carried, and minuted in clear, carpeted, warmed, and well-lighted offices by quiet men with white collars and cut fingernails and smooth-shaven cheeks who do not need to raise their voice. But because these quiet men do not raise their voices, because they sometimes speak in soothing tones of brotherhood and peace, because like other dictators before them, they're always making their final territorial demand, some would have us accept them at their word and accommodate ourselves to their aggressive impulses. But if history teaches anything, it teaches that simple-minded appeasement or wishful thinking about our adversaries is folly. It means the betrayal of our past, the squandering of our freedom. So I urge you to speak out against those who would place the United States in a position of military and moral inferiority. You know, I've always believed that old Screwtape reserved his best efforts for those of you in the church. So in your discussions of the nuclear freeze proposals, I urge you to beware the temptation of pride, the temptation of blithely declaring yourselves above it all, and label both sides equally at fault, to ignore the facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire, to simply call the arms race a giant misunderstanding, and thereby remove yourself from the struggle between right and wrong and good and evil.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
No, shush. Shush.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Niggas, you crazy.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Stay shut your mouth. Because you don't know what's coming. Shut my mouth? Yes, I did. Hold it. Tough guy. I'm not afraid of physical. Hold it. Don't sit there and tell me I'm not.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Stand back and stand by. Will you shut up,
Last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life tour. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You gotta come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
That was said sarcastically.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? You believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
If I may ask
Peter,
one other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, I was going to ask one other.
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse. How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
Yeah, this is Venkat, and tonight we're doing the first episode of Tape Fist Politics. Sorry about that. We came on a little later than we originally planned, but had some technical difficulties that we got through. But I do have a panel here today. I have a great panel. We have MD20 and we have Michael. And
It
we
was
had
all Trevor's fault.
we had well, there you go. And we had Trevor, but then he beamed out of here. But I just want to say
Trevor's fault.
yeah, you know it. I just want to say this show has been a long time coming. So it's going to be a great platform to be able to focus on the political side and dive into some of these real issues that don't get the light of day that it should. And I wouldn't have it any other way than having these guys on the panel with me because they're rock solid. So Michael, MD, as far as politics is concerned. What do you guys see as far as the importance of political, understanding? You want to go first, Michael?
Nah, you go ahead. You the big dog.
Yeah, man. So me personally, and excuse the background noise. I'm still driving. I'm about to stop now. Personally, it's less government, more individual freedom. Just contrary to popular belief, I'm not a conservative. Even though people want to label me that, I'm not. But it's cool.
You're not a conservative, you're saying?
Let me broaden what I say. I'm not morally conservative. I may be fiscally conservative, but morally, no, I'm not conservative at all. Now in the go ahead.
Well, I was just curious because so does that mean that you will not look at another perspective and adjust accordingly, or is it you're conservative. That's how. I mean, you're just gonna be that one way all the time.
I mean, from the aspect of human versus human, or something that can affect another American, I don't look at conservatism in the aspect of morality, like a lot of mainstream conservatives do. I look at it in the aspects of harming other Americans, i.e., abortion. Uh, uh, what's another one? Gender transition, stuff like that.
Okay.
Now, somebody will take that and try to flip it and say, "Hey, look, he's conservative," and try to put me in the aspect of like a moral conservative Bible thumper. No, it ain't that. It's anything that can harm or anything that's endue with harming another human person, i.e.,
Okay.
an American. You know what I mean? I look at it in that aspect. So if you want to call me conservative on that part, I'll take it. But I'm more fiscally conservative, anything, meaning I think money should stay out of the hands of government, subsidies, trusts, and stuff like that. That's how I look at stuff. So in actuality, I'm more libertarian than anything.
Mm.
But that's me.
Okay, Mike. What is your viewpoint?
I think people are stupid. I think the government is stupid, but I think the majority of the smarter people that aren't in the private sector are more closely related to the government than people just walking up and down the street. So I think government is necessary. I think people are lemmings and sheep. And because of that, we need a government, because if you decide one day to just say, to hell with the government, we're just going to make everything fair, it's literally impossible, because one genre has a insanely large head start and they fix the results. So we need a government to balance it out, because if we went by the old adage, just let the free market decide, the free market looks white as hell. Might as well call it Casper. So the free market does not exist. People like to believe that free market is if people want something, then it don't work like that. It don't work
Right.
like that. And if you think that white supremacy and racism don't inherently decide what the free market is, then just look at all the places that said that said the F word cakes, or we don't like those trans, or those people can kiss this, and look how wonderful the businesses are doing after people said they were canceled. They're doing fine. All those white places that we're not making a cake for those gays. Everyone's like, we'll never go there again. Guess what? All the white supremacists were like, that's the only place I'll go. So yeah, free market, call it what you want, not in this country. White supremacy is number one. It always will be. So we need something that can carve back at it. And the only thing that can carve against white supremacy is white guilt. And that's a la the government. So that's me. I'm not a Democrat because Democrats are morons. I'm not a Republican because Republicans are morally morons. I'm more of an independent who fiscally believes that we should be a little more conservative and morally believes we should be a little more liberal. But I'm not this America's the greatest, because I've lived in America all of my life and I know it's not the greatest. So that's me.
Cool. All right, cool. And we got Ricardo on the panel now. What's up, Ricardo?
Ricardo owes me money, actually.
What?
I don't know. I just keep saying it till somebody pays me.
Yeah. So what we were talking about, Ricardo, was like your identity, or what is your political outlook? Like, where do you lean, or so on and so forth.
So afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, considering where the storm is. Straight talk society. It's surprising though, because I thought very shocking that I heard MD say that he's a libertarian, because I thought I was at one point a libertarian.
So because he said he is, you had to change?
You got to question yourself.
Hilarious.
No, because it's very very, very rare you ever hear anybody say they're a libertarian anymore. So that's why I was like, wow, that was very surprising to hear that MD says that out loud. But I consider myself
out loud
because
it's all good. It's all good.
I was ostracized once upon a time for saying that, and I was like, okay, I guess I can't say I'm a libertarian, so I'll just say something else. But no, I consider myself politically as a progressive independent. Just like Mike, I don't consider myself Democratic because I can't stand the party and what it stands for anymore, and I don't consider myself Republican because I don't feel they get my culture or my community that well. Even though the Conservative Party or the Republicans or the GOP is, I don't even know what they call themselves anymore because we all saw what happened the last few years. I just feel like it's a mishmash of, if we could have a third party in this country, it would be so much better, but I doubt that's going to happen because you're going to have to compromise the other party for another one, and it's just not going to work. But I do consider myself a progressive independent. I would either say either party will have to sway me to vote for their cause. And I'm right down the middle. So it's either you're going to get me one way or the other, but I just can't lean. Even when I became a citizen of this country, and they were like, because I always tell people, when you become a citizen, do not tell them which party affiliate you are, because they will bombard you with nonsense. I put independent because I refuse for you to know my viewpoints. You will have to persuade me to vote for you, and from there, I'll just take the mantle and just go forward. I just don't feel the need to tell you I'm conservative or I'm liberal. It's either way. You just have to sway me, and based on how you sway me, then I'll vote for you. But I'm not Democratic and I'm not conservative, if that makes sense. If I am, then I'll be both. I'll be a liberal conservative, if that.
Okay,
That was
that's cool.
beautiful.
Well, hey, the reason I want to ask everyone that, so we can like establish that from the get-go and just get a little taste of each other's background and preferences and whatnot.
I'm not tasting anybody's back. You better calm that down, sir.
There you go, twisting stuff.
I'm sorry.
There you go, twisting. That's usually Trevor's job. He's usually the one that twist everything around. Yeah. So, so it's interesting to hear all the different viewpoints. My thing is, I'm progressive all the way through. I feel like, you can't do nothing if you're moving forward. When I hear conservative, I'm like, what are you conserving? Because if we're all complaining that things are not right, what are we holding on to? You should always be trying to make yourself better and make everyone around you better, and so on and so forth. That's how my viewpoint is. As far as the Republican Democrat thing, people say three parties is what they want. I say no. I say 6 parties. I think if you had 6 parties, you would have to really go into it, and they wouldn't have this tilt effect. Essentially, by having 2 parties, you have one party that doesn't give a goddamn. They don't even need to try. And then another party that's inefficient, the Democratic Party, inefficient with messaging and at times, even though they may have better ideas per se, the way they go about it can fail horribly. And the other party can just lay back and just, wait for nothing, wait for anything to come to them. And I think that if you had 6 parties, every party would be hustling and on their P's and Q's to try to get the vote better, than what we currently have. You were saying something? Someone was saying something?
I didn't know we were going to ask that question. I'm jealous because I was going to say 4 parties, but yours sound better. So now I
Yeah,
don't say
because
anything.
my 4 parties would be what? Libertarian, Democratic, Republican, Liberal, Conservative. There's like 6 parties that I would divide it up, and then everybody could really have a real defined placement. There's people that are in the Democratic Party or in the Republican Party, and they know they don't fit right, so they may have to hold on to one wedge issue. And but the party in itself, like look at the Republican Party. the racists are very comfortable in that party.
Yep.
Very, very too comfortable.
Hey,
So if you're
some would argue MAGA is doing what you're saying right now. Some would argue that. I wouldn't,
right.
but
Right. So if you're a legit Republican and you're like, hey man, I just want to have fiscal responsibility, and I think tax cuts is a better way. Whatever your legit reason would be, you still have the other issue of, well, these racist ass bastards are really cozying up in this party. So now you're affiliated with all this nonsense, and you probably didn't want that. You just wanted the real bread and butter of what the Republican Party should be. So what the Republican Party is a party that needs to be better than what it is. The Democratic as well. But when you look at both parties, they're not the same. There's a very stark difference between the two parties. So we'll get into that over the next few weeks and whatnot. But we need a strong Republican Party, because if you're only going to have two choices and one is lackluster, they're not even trying at times. That's the problem. You literally have a guy that's going to be facing jail time as your front runner. So that's all. You're already off on a bad foot right there. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up at the get-go, get the show started. Just disclosing our preferences politically, per se. Anybody else have anything else to add to that?
I would be progressive leaning. I just wish Bernie got a shot. For real. I know people hate Bernie and they like, Bernie would have did this. But if you take what Trump did and what whatever that guy Biden's supposed to be doing, and put them together, I think Bernie would have did better than them in the first 100 days.
Oh, of course.
Of course, but Bernie's messaging and got him. I think it was just all over the place, and it didn't sway anybody's votes independent wise. So that's why.
I think people are stupid and they couldn't understand it because they're stupid.
That too. But remember, it's the whole socialism thing that because I grew up in Canada, I kind of understand the concept of socialism and what it stands for. But in America, people use a negative connotation to the socialism aspect.
Exactly.
And that's why I said they stupid, because America is
that negative connotation?
America is drenched and soaked in socialism.
So, MD, to answer your question, that negative connotation is
Nazi party.
Free. Everything is going to be free. Everything is going to be handouts. Not necessarily true, because how I look at it is you're kind of helping the people that are at the very totem bottom that can't really get a chance to get certain things given to them. But then you have the people at the very top, or I guess the people who are, I hate to say it the way I'm going to disclose it though. The people that think along the lines of capitalism is there. So like, for instance, healthcare. I've always said, how did this country, the richest country on earth, not have free healthcare for its compatriots? I just never understood that concept. When they did try to do it earlier on, before Obamacare came in, or the Affordable Health Care Act came in, I think that's when Kennedy and was that in the Bush era, I think, when they were trying to do it, they screwed it up, and then they were like, nope, we're not going to touch it again. And then you had the pharmaceutical companies start sleeping in bed with the politicians, and then they were like, from there it just starts snowballing. It just got worse from there. Healthcare should be free. It should be universal for everybody. I'm sorry, it's the same thing. I think maybe because I grew up in Canada, it's not perfect, but if Singapore can get it done, Canada can get it done, United Kingdom can get it done, why can't the United States get universal healthcare, or at least give the public option? The stance that it should have, because then now, yes, capitalism is good for healthcare, but then what happens to everybody else that falters behind?
Dude, that's the easiest question to answer, but I'd get fined by Trevor.
Oh, you know it's weird. Oh, you know it's weird.
It's because F the people. That's why. People think capitalism is about the people. It's not. That's why corporations are people. It's not about the people. Huh?
Who said capitalism was for the people? That ain't what capitalism for.
That's what Americans think.
Right.
Well, they
you,
stupid then,
Americans
as you would say. They stupid. Capitalism is for the people. Capitalism is for you. Period. That's why I'm an individualist. Individualism, which is the cornerstone of fiscal conservatism, don't say that. It don't say nothing about me and you. It says just me. In the same sense, it would say capitalism is for you. Now, from the aspect of healthcare, I get what you're saying, and it's a noble cause. But in
when MD says stuff like that.
No. What I'm saying is, where do you get? See, this is where we jump into morality, right? And then this is why I'm not a conservative. When you talk about healthcare, the founding of this country don't say nothing about that the government is responsible for your life. It's a you get the opportunity to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It don't say that the government gives you a pushback or a shove.
But the government takes taxes from us.
Well, that's the overall. Hey, again, like I said, my libertarian mindset say a lot of stuff shouldn't be taxed. So you ain't gonna get no argument from me.
I'm not against a tax as long as the tax is done efficiently. I don't like when politicians are dipping into different tax revenue and Social Security, and now it's not solvent in the future when it needs to be. I mean, when we had all those hurricanes and natural disasters recently from like 2017 up to like 2019, they didn't have a way. Many states didn't have enough in the funds to like handle these situations.
Well, that part I agree with.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Humanitarian aid, that part I agree with. It should be something set aside tax wise for humanitarian aid. I don't disagree with that. But humanitarian aid
for healthcare.
Huh? Well, no, that's not humanitarian aid.
No, come on now. Like you live and work in this country, right? You bust your tail up and down. You pay your taxes. Now you get injured or sick or ill or whatever, unforeseen. The prices in healthcare in this country is just ridiculous. I once went to the doctor and just the Tylenol cost $115. One pill. So that's not sustainable in any shape or fashion. It's ridiculous, actually. But the thing is that if you're going to go in there and people are living check to check, now you're on the table and they're saying, oh, yeah, you got to swipe your card before we could do anything. That's kind of crazy. I think they could set up healthcare with the taxes. Like maybe that comes out and the taxes somehow. They could do something better than what we're doing now because you have to come out of pocket and it's deep pockets.
Well, again, I don't disagree with that. Again, you're not going to get no argument from me. We're talking about humanitarian aid. We're talking about in the sense of, and not to lower it, but we're talking about the sense of like Medicaid, Medicare, stuff like that. I ain't got no issue with that. The issue that I have is thinking that the government should maintain our health. They don't supposed to do that. It's one thing to have humanitarian aid. It's another thing to have maintenance. You're talking about maintenance.
So you have okay. So you have a government that's supposed to oversee the people within the society, and you would want, as a government, to have the weakest, sickest people within your society. How are you gonna function in a proactive way if you have everybody with high blood pressure, diabetes, and all these litany of chronic illnesses?
Why do they have these illnesses, Venkat? Come on now, let's keep it real.
No.
We're talking about maintenance here.
It's
not government's job to give us now from the aspect of what you're talking about. You're talking about big pharma. Big pharma.
Not only big pharma. I'm just saying, not only big pharma though, because government caused it, right? Why is it that there is a subsidy for the sugar industry?
I agree with that. You ain't gonna. I agree.
Okay, and then in the 1980s, they passed a bill allowing for cartoon characters, colorful characters, and whatnot to go on cereal boxes or all kind of food products and whatnot. And of course, it's all the junk Twinkies and all that crap. And there was a movement to try to stop that because they knew what would happen. It failed because, the big companies, big corporations have money and they're able to make things happen with that money. And you could literally look at the time that bill passed in the early 80s up to now, and it goes hand in hand with the obesity rate, with all the chronic illnesses of high blood pressure, diabetes, all these other cancer, because sugar feeds cancer. So if you got a lot of sugar in you, you're just opening the door for cancer. And I'm just saying, like, the government played a huge part in setting up the environment. Why is it when I go down the street, there's about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 food places just right in my face, and not one option is really a healthy choice? The government created that environment, so they do kind of have a responsibility to at least let people get a checkup once or twice a year. Maybe they might have some disease that they don't know.
I disagree. They don't have a responsibility.
Look what they did
don't
to
have
corn, bro.
Yeah, corn jacked up.
Corn is not even, corn is a genetically modified, a GMO organism. It's not even like real because they genetically modified it, and it's just not good for the body. Corn is so cheap because it's also a subsidy in the government that they use it as a substitute for sugar
and everything.
Exactly, high fructose corn syrup, and it's worse than sugar.
I saw high fructose corn syrup in water the other day. That threw me off. I ain't know what.
Yeah, they got it in Propel, I think, in that Propel water.
Yes,
that's ridiculous.
Nuts. It's in everything. It's in my computer, and there's no liquid in it.
So the environment that we have right now, you could directly link that to the government creating this environment.
Yeah.
So something needs to be done. And then the other thing is, Ronald Reagan opened his punk ass mouth.
You know what? You don't like when you get like that.
Yeah.
well, he said, the worst thing that you could see is someone knocking on the door saying, "Hey, it's the government. We came to help you." And it's not the government, it's who's in the government, right? Because all these people that say government don't work are always vying for a position in the government. So why is that happening? Because they're able to put those failed bad policies in effect that affect the majority in a negative way and the rich in a positive way. And these are things that need to be talked about.
Right, but what you're saying, Venkat, you want to replace subsidies for big monopolies and replace them with subsidies for us. Why not just get rid of the subsidies altogether? That way you have competition that'll expel all these things that you're talking about.
But we only seen it one way, right? We never see it for the people. We only see it for the companies. We've never seen it the other way.
Well, that's why you have that socialist mindset, because you're looking at it just the one way. You're looking at it, why are these people getting this? Why am I not getting that?
No,
and that's understandable.
No, that's not what I'm saying in any shape of the imagination.
Well, but if you're talking about free healthcare, that's what you're talking about. Ain't that essentially a subsidy?
But is it free though? Really, it wouldn't be free. You especially
well through tax dollars.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's a greater good complex.
Hey, I would rather have smarter, stronger, healthier, productive people in my society than the weak, broke down, jacked up people that we have right now. And I think it's meaningless.
This is America. Huh? Just tell them that you'll have a longer workforce. They'll last longer.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
They'll give it, if you can jack that retirement age up about 6 years, they'll give you free healthcare.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how is
and which party is always trying to push that needle up as far as with the retirement age? It's usually always Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we go further, I would like to play a video from one of the greatest minds, I feel, that's been, his career has spanned many decades. He's no longer with us, but his message, I think, is very profound. And let's just take a moment to listen to the great George Carlin.
Then everyone wonders why 17 other countries graduate more scientists than we do. Education! Politicians know that word. They use it on you. Politicians have traditionally hidden behind three things: the flag, the Bible, and children. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back, so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later, because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long, when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Yeah. You know? And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant.
All right, that was the late great. Yep, the late great George Carlin. What do we think about some of those words that were spoken?
I think that number one, that is the greatest comedian of all time. That man spurred something in me mentally when I was a child that made me one of the people that influenced me to be the type of man I am today. I love that man immensely. Nothing is better than the brown people joke. If anybody knows George Carlin, I'm trying to tell, this man is amazing. Him and I take it back. Him and Jane Elliott are the only two people I allow at the cookout.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's an amazing character. But you know, he gets into it. He can convey that message of, you know, what the country was going. And by the way, that was 2008. Yeah. You know, and it sounds like he's talking right now.
Yeah,
it really does, and that's also sad.
One thing, Venkat, Kevin J is going off in the chat, so give my boy some love. He's talking that good stuff.
Oh yeah, I see him. Oh yeah. MD, words on that? Disagree? Yeah. Agree?
Man, you already know. You already know where I'm at. Well, I ain't never really been a George Carlin fan. That's just me.
What?
I mean, you know, again, everything he pretty much said was correct. What he's not saying is who has the power to, especially from a local level, who has the power to uplift and make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Man, I don't live around old white people.
They still
It's more local than that. So what I'm saying is, I get what he's saying, especially from a federal level. I can't take that stance with a local level. I just can't, because I can see, especially where I grew up, that that's not the case. So when you talk about local politics and what goes on in your community, your neighborhood, your city, it's all about power of individual minds and creating a stronghold politically for you, not anybody else. And a lot of stuff he said was like proletariat stuff. We all know that, but it's all good, and that's where you fall in, Venkat. But you know, again, I get your point, but you're not gonna get the common working man to go for that. That's me.
Yeah. Ricardo, any thoughts on that?
I'm just gonna echo the same sentiments everybody's been saying. I mean, George ain't bad. I mean, you know, rest in peace, George. He did bring up a lot of valuable points. But no, nothing else to add other than what we already know and what he already shared. It's not like he's not spinning facts. It's all evident in the way he expressed it in that short clip. So
100%. All right, now we're going to go into our lead story. And tonight's lead story is Ron DeSantis and his war on black people. Ron DeSantis, what a character, what a guy. Let's take a look at just some history with Ron DeSantis, and we'll be back on that.
Wait 2 weeks. Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened.
That's Ron DeSantis. He's the 46th governor of Florida. So who is he?
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired. Make America great again."
Swing and line drive, base hit to right field.
A few years later, in 2012, DeSantis announced he was running for a congressional seat in Florida's 6th district. He won the race by a landslide. In the House, DeSantis signed a pledge, backed by fossil fuel profit-obsessed billionaires, the Koch brothers, vowing to vote against any global warming legislation that would raise taxes. DeSantis was re-elected 2 more times in 2014 and 2016. During his time in the House, he became a founding member of the Freedom Caucus, the far-right group within the House which advocates for extreme conservative legislation. He also spoke about super important issues on Fox News frequently, like Beyonce and Jay-Z taking a trip to Cuba.
It's not really an educational trip if you're going there on a wedding anniversary. That's basically just pure tourism.
Ron was also saying that, well, you know, even though they ratified slavery, they also put the provisions in the Constitution which allowed us 75 years later to fight against that and actually have the Emancipation Proclamation. And so, ooh, thank you, Boss DeSantis. We sure appreciate
the Russia investigation. Who started it?
Congressman, that matter is under
review by the Intelligence Committee, and there's nothing that I can talk about publicly regarding the initiation of the investigation.
A few weeks ago, the president tweeted support for me as a candidate for governor of Florida. So today we're going to be filing the paperwork to begin that.
I'd like to introduce a true leader, a proud veteran, my great friend, a tough, brilliant cookie.
He'd go up against the Democratic Tallahassee mayor, Andrew Gillum, in the general, who would have been Florida's first black governor.
The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda.
One of your donors called President Obama the N-word. You denounced his comments, but you did not return the money.
Now, I'm not calling Mr. DeSantis a racist. I'm simply saying the racists believe he's a racist.
The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda.
After the interview, a Fox News host made an announcement on behalf of the company saying on air, "We do not condone this language," which says a lot coming from Fox News. Soon after DeSantis' racial slur, his association with racism was brought to the forefront. The Washington Post reported DeSantis spoke 4 times at conferences organized by conservative activist David Horowitz, who has said that African Americans owe their freedom to white people and that the country's only serious race war is against whites. DeSantis praised the work of Horowitz in a speech. DeSantis was also criticized for taking a donation from someone who once called President Obama a Muslim on Twitter. The DeSantis campaign condemned the comment, but he didn't return the money.
But what do you say to Florida voters who have concerns about your keeping the money from that contributor, your comments, and about your tolerance?
Because he made a mistake, he apologized.
But the donor, who has contributed at least $22,920 to DeSantis' campaigns over the years, didn't apologize. In fact, he defended his racist comments, saying, "So somebody like Chris Rock can get up on stage and use the word and there's no problem? But some white guy says it and he's racist? Really?" Despite his close association to racists and spewing rhetoric that pleased them, DeSantis initially won the race by a count of 100,000 votes. Gillum conceded, but he took back his concession as late-counted ballots poured in, bringing the race within a margin of 0.4%. A recount was triggered, but 3 counties missed the recount deadline and it wasn't extended. DeSantis was named the winner with at least 584,000 ballots left out.
I'd like to thank our president for standing by me when it wasn't necessarily the smart thing to do.
You got a lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened.
Florida has become the new epicenter, not only in the country, but in the world.
Shame on you. You are an embarrassment. You are an embarrassment. We're getting record-breaking cases every day, and you are doing nothing.
If a local government tries to defund the police, we at the state can stop that. We're able to put people in jail if they riot or assault a police officer. Teaching kids to hate their country and to hate each other is not worth 1 red cent of taxpayer money.
Okay, so that's Ron DeSantis. A little short, overview of his early life and career. What do we think about Ron DeSantis?
If I go first all the time, they're gonna say I'm hogging the mic. Come on.
No, go ahead, man. I'm in a restaurant. Go ahead.
Trevor tells me that I use the word hate too much, but I hate this dude. Like, there's not even room to be able to like have a discussion or to like kind of try to understand or to see if we can have common ground. He's just a filth bag, subhuman piece of trash. Like, that's just who he is. He's like Trump's love baby incarnate. And it's funny because he's part of the reason I wanted him and Ted Cruz are part of the reason I wanted a four party system. So there could be like regular Republicans, regular Democrats, and then you can get your like super hating, I can't stand the darkies group, and then you could get your progressives, and then we can move like that. But that probably wouldn't work because they joined right back up as soon as somebody brown got in charge. So, bro, like I don't understand how are we supposed to survive in this world in your individualism if there are people out there like this who are determined to ensure that if we're not together, we will fall regardless, because that's what they're there for. They're there to make sure, a couple of you Negroes think you're going to make it by yourself? Cool. The rest of them, we're going to send them right back on the boat because that's what they want to do. They're horrible. I hate them. And it's funny to me that he's Latino because, you know what, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there today. Well, I'll say that for another show. Go ahead. Disgusting.
Yeah. I'll say this.
Okay.
Again, I second that sentiment. I don't like Ron DeSantis, right? Ron DeSantis, to me, he represent old GOP. I put it to you like this. In another world, if Trump wasn't running, DeSantis would be clear front runner. But in the aspect of pandering, see this what we got to get out of when we get to politics. We got to stop pandering to a lot of these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I don't believe Ron DeSantis even know half time, and especially after the debate. Ron DeSantis don't even know what the hell he talking about half the time. Let's just keep it real. The debate showed me that.
He's hitting like certain keywords to get the certain group of people riled up.
Right.
Whistleblowing is the word.
Yeah.
Right.
And guess what? It works.
Yeah, it do work because people are stupid. So we talked about the issue with the Republican Party. They pander. They pander to a certain group.
I'm disgusted.
Yeah, but can I add to that? How long can the Republican Party pander, though? Because if they didn't get the message quite well in 2008 when Obama was coming in, they're not going to get the message again. It's not that hard for you to get. And my problem has always been the problem with the Republican Party. From when you hear me say they're not doing the outreach for the Black community, it's not hard. Because I always hear people say this all the time. Oh, but I'm Black, so I'm automatically Democratic. No, you're not. The Black vote was never always Democratic. The Black vote was always conservative. If you look back, it wasn't until somewhere along the lines, I don't know where or when, we decided that every Black person that votes is Democratic, and it just
1965.
Yep, when they did the Civil Rights Bill.
Yep.
There you go. So it to me, and I had this argument a while back with somebody that is on the manga side, and as you know, it's like talking to a rock with that set of group of people when you speak to them. But again, I'm a person that's for free speech because, hey, if you don't have free speech, then even if it's not something I like, I still give you your due diligence of speaking and saying what you want to say. It doesn't mean I'm gonna take it with I will take it with a grain of salt. But with the GOP, again, the Black vote is not hard for you to get. It's not hard for you to pander to our voting system. It's not hard for you to come over and say they just won't do it. It's just, I don't know if it's the whole white fragility thing that is going. I don't know if it's the fear of, oh my God, if the Black people all get together, they band together and they realize what's if they wake up, then we're terrified they're gonna do something. We were always conservative. I don't know where again, must have been the 50s, which we all know it was, where it just somehow we just plateaued over to the Democratic leanings, but we were always a conservative voting bloc. So the GOP need, and coming back to the whole DeSantis, just to segue back to him, he doesn't stand a chance of winning presidency. We all know that. The guy flip-flops too much, but he is a polarizing figure. He is polarizing. I don't really like him in the sense of, because of the whole, whistleblowing with the whole racial thing. Again, when Trump did it too, it kind of disgusts me, because I'm like, if you can't say or stand for something, even though you claim that you have Jewish leanings, it doesn't make sense, because you're still whistleblowing. So you could say all you want to say, you're still whistleblowing, and it's very evident. But then again, I'm black, so what do I know? According to the white people that vote. So, for him, he's polarizing. He is a Trump. He is somebody that came under Trump's whacktail until Trump realized, oh crap, this guy is a threat to me. Yeah, I'm gonna start speaking crap about him, because guess what? Trump doesn't like a threat. If you are a threat to him, he automatically starts coming after you. So it's nothing new, but I just don't see DeSantis win presidency. So we could just throw that underneath, because looking at the voting block right now, not that particular segment of the party doesn't seem to like him, but they're going to still use him to a degree until we, knock everybody off, and then they decide whether or not Trump is going to get charged, which we know he's not. But if, you could wishfully think, yes, he is, then they will decide if he's going to be the front runner. I don't know how that's going to work, seeing that you've been twice impeached, and, we all know from there on.
Yeah, that's well said. Ron DeSantis, man. I mean, a year ago at this time, he was riding high. He was just up there in the polls on his way to a landslide victory against Charlie Crist. I don't know what the hell Charlie Crist was doing representing the Democrats. I mean, that's an issue in itself.
Yeah.
But the first election he had, he won by like 0.4%. So it was like super close. Charlie Crist is not a Democrat. He could try to lie and say he is. He's not a Democrat. He's a Republican. And he was not the best representation. So I think he got his head inflated when he won by a large margin, and everybody rallied to him. And then he got all this donor money. And then he's like, oh, well, I could do this and I could do that. And then once he took back office again, in the second term, he went ahead and had a flurry of bills that he kept putting out there. A lot of it is not that great for the community, not that great for the state of Florida. As you can see, Florida right now dealing with major issues, trying to get insurance companies to stay or not overcharge. So Ron DeSantis, in his own doing, helping out his buddies in the corporate world, passing bills that benefit them. But like one of the things he did, he passed a bill where essentially you can't dispute or sue the insurance company for whatever reason, the car insurance company. You can't do that under this bill that he constructed, which was heavily favored on the insurance company's side. Sorry about that. Yeah, on the insurance side. Yeah. So he passed this bill where you would have to have extreme large sums of money just to try to compete, which most average people will not be able to. And if you lose, you end up paying even more money. And it's just a ridiculous bill that puts the consumer at odds with not being able to fight back if, let's say, you were unjustly charged or whatever the case may be that you need to sue them. So Ron DeSantis, if you look at his bills line by line and you see what his agenda is, it's highly questionable.
Man, Trevor, hot button word, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, yeah. He's still trying to champion that cause. I don't know how. I mean, DeSantis has a failure of an election process right now. I think he's down from Trump immense. I think over 40 points. He's nowhere near Trump right now, and Trump is going to jail and, and getting charged with crimes, and he's nowhere near that guy. And a lot of investors, huh?
20%. DeSantis at.
Right, and I think Trump is what over 50, right?
I love the fact that he puts out a mugshot and gains in the polls on DeSantis. That is hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff, man.
Like what about some of the reactionary bills? Like I said, the part of the reason I don't like the SAG, he real reactionary. Like a lot of the bills that he passed, besides the concealed carry law, I like that law. But other than that,
I love that law. Ain't no like.
Yeah, I love that law.
I mean, but hell, even that bill was reactionary because a lot of the southern states was doing it at the time. I guess he just followed suit. Yeah. I mean, I think Georgia and Florida did it we did it 1 year before y'all did. And it's constitutional carry, so I don't have no issue with it. But a lot of the stuff he did, like the don't say gay and what's another one? The diversity and the equity bill, like all that stuff was reactionary to the whole woke thing that he tried to push. And that's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
You try to champion yourself to be anti-woke, whatever that means.
Right.
And try. I'm assuming that you did it just for the election. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can almost guarantee you, if this wasn't an election year, or if he wasn't running for president, a lot of the bills that he did that in which he did reactionary wouldn't even have got passed. He's doing stuff. He's doing stuff to pander to a particular audience, which, in my opinion, I think hell the overall diversity market in Florida supersede the market that he's trying to go for anyway. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother story.
Well, what do you think about the fact that he wrote a bill that stops him from losing the governorship?
The governorship, yeah.
I've never heard of such a thing before.
Well, it's a lot of states.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's a lot of states that do have that, but it's in their constitution. Like
that's what ticks me off about
Asa Hutchinson got that.
Why Democrats don't think dirty like that?
I don't know.
For real, you think of all the filthy, horrible stuff Republicans have done? Democrats, you can't get dirty for the people. You say you care about the people, get filthy, get in the mud. Stop. That's why Obama pissed me off. Stop trying to hold your chin up and take the high road. The high road sucks.
Doesn't that sound familiar though?
To who? Who else says that?
Doesn't it sound familiar to our community? When anything happens in our community, and you know what I mean by our community, the black community. Right. When there's some incident or some shooting, we're always the first ones to settle. Why I have
let's forgive. Not I.
Right. That's true. That's a good point.
I'm not the forgiving type. I say take them out back, shoot them in the crotch, let them live for 2 years with no crotch, then bring them back and shoot them again. I wasn't done.
I wasn't done. Really?
Yeah, that's how I get down.
Oh man.
Yeah. Trust me. Yeah. Y'all think I be joking when I be snapping and saying don't touch my daughter. I got a whole list of plans on what I'm gonna do to somebody who touch my baby. I got a list. And it just begins with a potato peeler. Ramsey
Kevin,
no more.
Kevin made a good point there, with the whole Disney. That's such nonsense. Like, how you gonna be a conservative having a fight with a corporation and literally just attacking them with bills to compromise their business? That totally goes against. Am I wrong? Doesn't that go against the conservative?
Bring millions and millions of dollars to your state each and every year.
Well,
Yeah, but that was set in stone from the beginning. I don't know why he would even try to go against the mouse, is what I usually call Disney the mouse. When for a fact that as a huge conglomerate that they are, you really
Mhm.
won't take on Disney when they could easily just say, hey, we could just leave the state of Florida and just go elsewhere, where that revenue could then be sufficient with somebody else or some other states laws and policy. I know Disney not going to leave Florida though, because if it wasn't for Disney, really and truly they go hand in hand. But that's one of the reasons why I think he's gonna lose, because you took on Disney. He did, in a sense. I get what he was trying to do, and I hate the fact that he used woke and weaponized it for that side. I don't know when woke became like a white thing. All of a sudden.
Exactly.
I told you.
Well, just like me too.
It's
When did that become a white thing?
Yep, it's supposed to be anything black women do, white women will steal and make their own. I keep telling black women, stop teaming up with them heifers.
Yeah, so to go along with what we were saying about his laws, let's take a look at a short clip here with some of DeSantis' laws that he passed.
A new law in Florida is restricting how schools and businesses can address the subject of race. Lisa Desjardins has more on the cultural battles that are playing out in the Sunshine State.
Florida is again in the middle of cultural and political debate as a law went into effect in the last week governing some diversity training on the job and teaching about race at schools. First, to help out our viewers, let me cover what this law does. This law is called the Stop Woke Act, and it essentially codifies a ban on teaching critical race theory, including the concept of white privilege in K-12 schools. It would block businesses from requiring some kinds of diversity and inclusion training, and it would enforce all of that using lawsuits or penalties up to $10,000.
Are teachers in the state of Florida at risk of committing a third-degree felony by having books about certain topics in their classroom? The answer is yes. According to a post written on the district's website this week, under new Florida law, all books in elementary school libraries must be reviewed by a certified media specialist. State training on these new laws requires that books be free from pornography, instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in grades kindergarten through 3, discrimination in such a way that an individual, by virtue of his or her race, color, sex, or national origin, is inherently racist or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously.
Okay. So you can see there was a flurry of 200 plus bills that DeSantis signed into law at one point. What do we think about some of these bills? He had the Don't Say Period bill. He got the immigration bill. What do we think about some of these bills?
I think Democrats are punks. They should have been doing this for the longest and locked in a whole bunch of good stuff for us for decades whenever they had power. Only
True.
Republicans do this smart stuff.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Now the whole Don't Say Period bill. I don't agree with that one. Mainly for the fact that, you might have situations where physical education at school might be the only outlet that young girls may have to learn about their menstrual cycle, So I don't agree with that one. The Don't Say Gay one, you know what I mean? The consensus is like that ain't something that children need to be even conceptualizing anyway. I would think that would be the consensus, but now the straw that broke my back was the whole CRT thing, which I get. I'm against CRT. CRT should not be taught in K-12 school because it's a complex subject. I don't have no problem with it being.
I don't think it's complex. Massa beat me. I said, "Ow." I don't think it's a hard concept to grasp.
You're bugging.
No. CRT and teaching about slavery is two different things, though, Venkat. That's what you have to understand.
There's no such thing as CRT. Dude, I went through the same school as y'all. There was no CRT. It ain't complex. You know what's complex? You know what's complex? Calculus. That's complex. And the kids are doing that. They can understand race. And guess what? I'm 40 something. I don't wake up wanting to kill white people. I don't wake up wanting to kill white people. I learned about slavery. But I lived through roots.
But you leading to what the white folks want you to say though.
What am I leading to?
It ain't necessarily about okay. I took a class in 11th grade social studies. Now I want to kill white. No, you know what I'm saying. But
No,
what I'm saying is,
I grew up, dude. I went to a school where they actually taught you Black history. I
did too. I went to an all Black school. I mean,
okay,
I get
so we
I
learned
get middle school, not high school, but
listen what I'm saying. I went to a school where I had I could have got 100 on a test and I got a 99 because I refused to write down that slave masters had to harden themselves to beat the slaves and to feel inhuman. I was like, no, they didn't. They got everything they wanted. They was raping them. And I wrote it right down the thing. And my teacher looked at me and was like, oh, Michael. But that's how I felt. I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Sorry, Miss Wells.
But CRT is nothing new. Like they've been teaching CRT in sociology classes in college. That's why I don't believe
exactly.
Yeah, it don't belong in K through 12.
Bro, let's be clear. Let's be clear. They're taking out slavery. And sadly, I'm on MD's side with this because I was complaining when they was doing this in Texas 10 years ago. I was telling people they taking it out of school books. They taking Black people out of school. They'll teach about every European history, every date, and the Archduke Ferdinand was shot when it started World War. Don't nobody give a damn. I want to know about what happened to me.
So wait a minute, Mike, you're saying that you agree with taking out CRT in school?
No. I agree with him.
But CRT is not slavery.
At the local level, something should have been done. Something should have been done at the local level. People should.
From my understanding, CRT encompasses a multitude of elements from the slavery era. So it's supposed to cover all the good, the bad, the ugly, everything possible, all aspects.
That's true. But CRT essentially is psychoanalyzing slavery. I don't think that belongs in grade school. I just don't. Teach the history of it. I ain't got no issue with that.
Okay, so what about different degrees? So there's certain levels to the studies, and they can go up as you go up in age.
Yeah. So let me give a recap.
Okay.
When they were proposing CRT, they wasn't proposing it as a regular curriculum class. They was proposing it as an AP studies class, meaning that 12th graders could get early college credit for that class. That was the initial proposal. So it wasn't like it was going to be like just a regular class. Let's talk about how the white man. It wasn't. No, it was going to be an AP class for college advancement, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So again, even with that, I still kind of say, well, like we don't need to be getting into sociology in high school. Now that's just my personal opinion,
sir.
I'm not taking away from. I'm not taking away from the slavery part. Slavery should be taught in school, period.
Yes.
Right. But here's the hypocrisy. And this lets you know how dumb DeSantis is. Remember, DeSantis had the press conference. They asked DeSantis in the press conference, have you looked into what the new curriculum is going to entail? DeSantis didn't even know what the hell was going on. He didn't know nothing about nothing.
Of course he does.
I wish I would have had that curriculum so you could bring it up, Black Son. I mean, not damn. I called it. Oh shit!
Somebody get that man his eagle wings.
But my man, I called you the wrong name, Venkat. I wish I had that curriculum so you could bring it up. In the curriculum, they do their best try to take away any inclination of slavery when it comes to African American history, but on the same token, they got a curriculum class in there. It's social studies, basically, world history. They literally do CRT when it comes to the Jewish Holocaust in that same curriculum.
Exactly.
That was rewritten to take out the African American history. Literally.
And the one thing I disagree with you on, and then I'm gonna shut up and let my dog Cardi go, is you said it yourself. These are AP classes for college credits. So these are the creme de la creme of the students. These are the ones you want taking CRT classes. Right. These are the kids that are actually going to learn about it and move on with something productive. They're going to take it and they're going to make movements and they're going to start things. They're not just the kids who are going to be like, we're going to have a cracker day. These are the smart kids. These are the ones you want to learn. You feel me?
Like I said, it's debatable. Like I said, Me
And
personally,
I just won the debate.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Me personally,
don't give up that easy.
Me personally, I don't think it belongs in school, but that don't take away from teaching slavery as it happened. I don't disagree with that part. The CRT aspect, like I said, that's psychoanalyzation. I don't think that belongs in high school. That's just me.
Well, it's not high school; it's college credits.
But they damn sure psychoanalyze that Jewish Holocaust in the same curriculum that they rewrote.
Yes, they do, and they will, and they'll never take it out.
Wow. What's your take on this,
talk about Native
Ricardo?
Americans too.
What's your take on this, Ricardo? Oh, he must be out.
He must have got tired of me talking. I said, I bet they talk about Native Americans too. They love everybody else's. Hold on, we're ignoring the most important law. DeSantis tried to pass a law allowing landlords to completely railroad tenants' due diligence without consequence. Boy, come back on the channel, come back on the show and say that. What's wrong with you, boy? I can't stand DeSantis. Bro, this is what makes me so mad inside, because I don't believe in people, but every time we talk about these things, I'm like, damn it, MD is talking the truth. If people would just come together and do it on the local level. If we could get, bro, if you see these local town hall meetings and how it's all white people and the ombudsman is white, everybody's white, it's just white, old white people. Even in black communities, it's an old white dude for some reason. Black people don't know nothing about their local neighborhood. They don't know all they know is I can get them 3 Lucy's for $1 over at so-and-so Mark. That's it. And they get on my damn nerve. That's why I don't believe, that's why I think the world's over. All right, let me shut up. Go ahead, Venkat. I'm about to get fatalistic.
Damn, over with? Damn.
Yeah, man, the world is over, bro. It's a wrap. I'm just trying to make sure I want to make sure my daughter is off the pole and has a nice job before I die. Then I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be alone, but I'm gonna have that thing solidified. Then I succeeded as a daddy. Then I'm gonna go ahead and die. Just let this go. Give up the ghost. And
Ricardo,
when I die, I send a picture of my middle finger to Trevor.
Well, it's always room for that. Exactly. Just like Jello. Just like Jello. Yeah, Ricardo, I guess he went out because I guess he couldn't hear or something. So he's probably going to come back in a few moments, I guess.
No problem.
Yeah. Ron DeSantis, his bills are just like MD said, they're very reactionary. And a lot of times it could backfire in a negative way that he didn't anticipate. So it'll be interesting. Oh, what's this? Ricardo, the middle finger. Yeah. So yeah. And the reason I named the segment or the show Ron Disaster is because he's already seen so much. Like I said, a year ago around this time he was riding high, and now a lot of Republican big time donors are not backing him anymore because of his sheer incompetence. Day one when he launched his candidacy, he did it on Twitter, now called X. I won't call it X, but on Twitter. And he was with that guy, what's the idiot name there? Right, Elon Musk, right. Yeah. And they just had all this weird glitching and
it was a disaster. I was trying to get in myself.
Yeah, it was a complete failure. That's how he launched this. And currently, as he said, he just continued going downward, fighting fights that didn't make sense, the Disney thing, and just all this silly controversy. And now, this past weekend, he shows up at, I guess, a vigil for 3 black people that got shot down by a racist white supremacist guy. And he showed up, and everybody just booed him the hell out. Rightfully earned, by the way. So Ron DeSantis, it's been a disaster for the most part. So we'll just see where it goes. Is he going to be the nominee? Hell no. I don't think he can. I don't think he has a chance in hell. I think people have left him, and I don't think he can turn this around. even with his competition going to jail. It's just amazing.
Hey, believe it or not, after the debate, Vivek Ramaswamy is gaining speed on it.
Oh God, no.
So
Look at that, and that's the first debate. There's many more to come. So
Nah, that dude has. God, I can't.
well, go back and watch the debate. He all he did was parrot everything Trump said. That's what Vivek did.
And that's my annoyance with when they start doing this parakeet nonsense that they're doing. Stop copying Trump. Just be your damn selves at this point, because you can't beat Trump if you're going to do the same thing he's doing. You got to counteract him by doing the complete opposite of what he's doing. And
he's been doing Trump since day one.
Oh man, I don't know, but for me, that dude.
If I get tape of it, it's going on eBay.
He starts spewing a whole bunch of stuff, and he just runs with it. I'm like, what are you talking about most of the time? None of your talking points make sense. If you're trying to sway me as an independent to come over for your conservative vote, you're not doing a fantastic job at it at all. If that's the case, I might as well not vote. And that's the worst thing you want an independent voter to not do, is to vote for the most critical part of the election block. You need an independent vote. No matter how you look at it, the people that are not being swayed is the ones you need to go after, and none of them are swaying anybody. So that's where I have an issue with Ron DeSantis. I talk to Trevor about it all the time. I don't hate the dude in the sense of, because hate is a strong word. You could loathe him, meaning that you might have a strong dislike.
No, I just hate him.
I can do both. I can do both.
It's too strong of a word for me.
We ain't playing Pictionary, Ricardo. Just give flat out. Hey, you hate him. You hate him.
I don't hate. No, it's just like when people at work, they're like, "Oh, I hate that." Listen. I don't hate the dude. I dislike the dude. I might loathe him, but that hate is a strong word for me. Like, you going, that's a bit of a stretch. But for me, like, he has. It's kind of like when Trump brings up, like, for every bad thing Trump said, the good points that he made up just didn't work for him. It's the same issue I have with DeSantis. He brings up some good points sometimes. For instance, for me as a parent, there's certain things in what that he brought up that were like, okay, well, if you're going to bring it, and somebody else said the same thing when I was discussing this with them as well. If you're going to then ban books, like when he was bringing up the points like, oh, as a parent, I don't want my kids to learn about sex and blah, blah, blah in schools, which, I'm a strong proponent for. Listen, let me teach my kid about sex. I don't need you to do that. But when you're going to put
wait a minute, Ricardo. What about the child that don't have that at home?
Right.
And that's where I said it becomes, because I was talking to somebody that was seeing the same thing you said, MD. It's a very slippery slope. So you have to weigh the balance of, if it in either case it's not gonna be fair, because then if you're gonna do that, then what happens when they start banning books about slavery, or you start banning books about someone being a hero, or like he was the person I was talking to was just listening to a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, you do bring up a good point, because if you ban one thing, you're gonna have to then ban something else, because then it's not gonna be fair. So it's like a tough spot. So when he brought up a lot of interesting points where I'm like, all right, I'm for what he's saying here, he then does something else. Then you go, okay, then you lost somewhere again. You had me going, and then it's like, no, I that. It's like he's all over these flops, and then
you breaking up, Ricardo. Is that me? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you are breaking up a little bit.
I hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm in a dead zone, so that's why you saw me drop off. But like I said, for him, DeSantis is too polarizing. He has to now figure out a way and he's not going to be able to do it in time. You can't sway everybody at this point, because you're fighting Disney on one end, you're fighting critical race theory, you're fighting woke, you're fighting tenants and landlords. On the other hand, and then you're fighting the immigrants that are coming into the state of Florida that you got rid of for construction work and plowing the fields and everything else. The thing is, he has to find some semblance somewhere, and I just don't think the party wants him. I think he's pushing a hard fight, but at this point, I don't think he's gonna win, and he might as well just stick to being the governor until whenever he decides to leave. And even then, that I think is just wavering on the Floridian votes at this point. So, sorry. I mean, he is polarizing. I don't hate the dude, but like MD said, it's like it's a strong word. MD, I dislike him. I don't hate him. Hate is a strong word for me when it comes to people. I dislike people. I loathe you, but hate, nah, it's not that deep.
I'll hate him for you.
Well, we got right now, since we're speaking about Ron DeSantis, we do have Mr. Straight Talk himself, who has an affinity for Ron DeSantis.
Who let him in here?
What's up? What's up, Mr.
Hey,
Straight Talk?
now that's the conservative. That's the conservative.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys are adding me to this stream. I am not adding myself to this. I have no idea why I'm on here.
Oh, I added you.
Oh, you just sat there quietly for 35 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, because unlike you, I could actually be quiet and let people talk. So I am just sitting back here and enjoying the show. I didn't want to come up here.
Can everybody hear the middle finger?
I really didn't. But I will add this though. I do appreciate this show. I'd echo what Nene said. Black men talking politics. This is well needed. And look at that. Just as I start talking, everybody come into the room, because that's what I do. I talk them into the room. I'm just like CM Punk.
Oh Lord.
Wow. Ego on this guy.
But seriously though, I think this is really needed though. I'm just sitting back here enjoying the show, just catching up on some other work for the show. I had no need to be in here. I'm looking like you saying that I'm on here. I'm like, what the hell? I've been in the back the whole time. But
I've been up here for a little minute. I didn't know what had happened.
Yeah, I never hit the button because again, it's just like I told Venkat. I have 100% confidence in Venkat as being the one who pushed me to do this, that he would do this show justice, and I appreciate all the work that he's put into it. And I especially love that that entrance. That was like that was really good. I'm sitting here looking at it. I'm like, damn, he making me jealous now. I need him to redo the Man Talk Monday one, but I think the show is going really good. So before I step down, I will just tell you guys, as always, you guys love to misrepresent me, and I get it because I had to play the villain. I'm the villain. I get it. Everybody, all the Trevor hate. It's all good. You guys know the only reason I like Ron DeSantis. That's it. And then I'm not even gonna. I don't even want to say why, just because I don't want to say why. I got my reasons for not wanting to say why, but you guys know why I don't care for why I like Ron DeSantis. You've never heard me overwhelmingly say that he's a great guy and things like that. As a matter of fact, if Ricardo would be the one to know how I think the majority of his decisions are no good. Mm-hmm. But he, as me being a parent to a girl, there's certain things that he says that makes my ears tickle. Just like I always said, during Donald Trump's presidency, I made the most money I've ever made in my life. Venkat loves to dispute that and said that, it was the trickle-down effect from Obama, whatever. But you can get hot and cold water out of the same faucet. So I'm not going to 100% say that somebody is the worst thing in the world, because we're all full of shit. When you think about it, we all have bad things about us. And at the end of the day, politics is going to always divide people, which is another reason why I just didn't want to. I didn't feel a need for me to be on this show, because it's very divisive. I mean, you guys are having a cordial conversation, which is great. But when we get to start talking and I'm saying, hey, man, but DeSantis is a good guy in this, no, he's not good. No, I hate him. I hate, I can't deal with. So again, like I said, I think the show's been fantastic. I literally been in the back just getting some work done. I got the clip from the show last night when Carol came on. That's really what I've been here doing, just enjoying the show. So I appreciate you fellas for I appreciate you guys for doing this. And before I leave, free MD 20. And MD, I'm probably, I'm probably going to fine you, because outside of George Carlin dropping the F-bomb 5 times. I can't find him because he's
I already know what you're gonna find me.
But, MD dropped something worse than the F-bomb. So and he's right. Yeah, these political conversations are absolutely more cordial than the Bible conversations. But yeah, man, I think
that's sad. That's a
very
sad reality.
I think y'all doing a fantastic job. So I'm gonna step down, and you notice though, I'm gonna just say y'all notice this, how Venkat and Mike are for the most part not interrupting each other. But had I been up here, every fourth word they would have interrupted me.
You know what's so funny?
Fourth word.
Ron D. Johnson just spoke for like 10 minutes. Ain't nobody interrupt him. Anyone else notice that?
Because
so what is he talking about?
When you look in the right-hand corner up top, you see why. But fantastic show, fellas. I'm gonna go back in the back, man. Don't put me back up here, Venkat.
Venkat, kick him out, please. Get him out of here.
Go ahead, because I know you want to. Go ahead and kick me out. I won't
get
even.
Pander Claus and his beard out of here.
We have to have the founder on here.
Oh, yeah, I'm right here.
The founder of the channel.
I'm gonna go back in the back, man. Great show.
Pander Claus, get out of here.
Appreciate it.
With your bag of bull crap, get out of here. You can get hot water and cold water the same faucet. You can also get bull crap and water in the same faucet. I bet you won't drink that water though. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go back and get the show back on the rails. The next segment is the lame duck session, and this is a special segment that we highlight trash bag human beings. So let's go with our first edition of the lame duck session.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced.
I'm tired of being quiet.
I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. With great power comes great responsibility.
All right, so we're in the lame duck session, and tonight's lame duck is going to be Donald J. Trump, the one and only Donald J. Trump. He's had a hell of a year, and 4 times he's been arrested, indicted. He's been impeached twice. He has that long litany of bad work that he's done. So we want to pay tribute to Donald J. Trump. So let's just take a look at some video real quick.
Looks like we are just getting the mugshot for former President Donald Trump as he just left there at the Fulton County Jail. Here it is. Let's bring it up for you here. You can see this is what it looks like. We weren't sure if we were going to be getting it tonight, but here it is, the official mugshot of the former president, the first ever mugshot for a former president, the first ever president to be facing criminal charges now for a 4th time here. All of this comes on the heels of his visit to the Fulton County Jail today as we took you through it live, raw, and unfiltered. And we finally have our hands on that mugshot. We weren't sure if he was going to smile, what it would look like. All those questions are answered here.
This is just a striking image to see the former president of the United States, who was just booked in the Fulton County Jail behind us, questions remained even within his team as of this morning whether or not this photo would ever actually exist. But there you see it, with the watermarks, just like every other co-defendant that has come before him. I mean, the former chief of staff, the former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, and now to see the mugshot of the former president of the United States.
Yeah, when I look at that, I can't help but wonder if he practiced that pose. That's a very interesting look that he has there. It makes me sad. Yeah. It makes me sad to see a former president with a mugshot. As I mentioned earlier, I take no joy in seeing him booked into the Fulton County Jail. It makes me sad that a former president has conducted himself in such a way.
The entire booking process took about 20 minutes. The former president's physical measurements provided in advance, listing himself at 6'3", 215 pounds. This is the fourth criminal case brought against the former president since March. That's when he became the first U.S. president in history to be indicted in America. He has 18 co-defendants, including Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and attorney Rudy Giuliani. Trump has called this case politically motivated. Our breaking news anchor Megan Mitchell will have more on what comes next for Trump at 6:30.
That is the mugshot seen around the world. For the first time in history, a former president of the United States fingerprinted and photographed like any other suspect under arrest. And it's not just the mugshot that's making headlines. The former president says that he is an incredible 30 pounds lighter than when he was in office. Could that possibly be true? Les Trent reports.
Staring into the lens of history, Donald Trump's mugshot is all anyone's talking about today.
He could have smiled. He could have looked benign. Instead, he looks like a thug.
The New York Times says Trump looks as if he's about to headbutt the camera. The former president orchestrated his surrender as a primetime spectacle. He went from the Atlanta airport to the Fulton County Jail in a huge motorcade, 10 SUVs, 2 ambulances, and look, 18 motorcycle cops.
Those are the outriders who race ahead, block the intersections. It looks like a lot, but every vehicle has a purpose.
His team of lawyers and Secret Service agents accompanied him into the jail, which has been described as filthy and infested with bugs.
There's no hiding the conditions of that place, and it's probably the worst jail in the country, maybe even the world.
The building is disgusting. There's like flooding from the ceilings. You'll see big garbage cans kind of like waiting for water to drip into them.
Trump says he found the booking process unsettling.
I went through an experience today that I never thought I'd have to go through. Terrible experience.
Here's Trump's official booking form, and it's sparking intense reaction today. He self-reported his height and weight, 6'3", 215 pounds, and no one's buying it.
6'3", 215 pounds. I cannot independently
215 pounds? I'm going to go ahead and call, no, that is not the case.
Come on now, does anybody believe he weighs 215? If he weighs 215, I weigh 102.
If it is true, he'd have the same physique as NFL quarterback Lamar Jackson. The last time he reported his official weight followed a physical at the White House in 2018, when he weighed in at 239 pounds, just below obesity. And when he was booked in New York 5 months ago, he said he was 6'2".
He gained an inch from the indictment in April, and he lost 25 pounds since leaving the White House. Got taller and lost weight.
Wow! Trump is now back at his country club just up the road here in Bedminster, New Jersey. He was in and out of the jail in Atlanta in just 21 minutes and used a bail bondsman to help secure his $200,000 bail. Just like Rudy Giuliani, who was seen entering the offices of a second chance bail bonds right after he was booked. I spoke with the director of operations, Jesse Fellabaum. Can you confirm, are they allowed to self-report how much they weigh and how tall they are?
Yes, there is an honor system involved where you are asked to give that information. Oftentimes they will pull that off of your ID if you do have an ID to present, but it is pretty rare that you're asked to stand against a wall and measure or step on a scale.
All 19 defendants in the Georgia election conspiracy case had until noon today to turn themselves in, and they have all done so. Most stared straight into the camera, expressionless. Others, like attorney Jenna Ellis and publicist Trevian Cootie, grinned. But it's Donald Trump's scowl that will live in history.
Yep. So Donald Trump, our first lame duck, and I think rightfully earned. And I'm just gonna say it right now. People tripping about the 215. I was tripping about the 239 because this big fat ass ain't no way in hell he's 239. There's no way in hell. But
No
whatever.
way. He is Kim Jong Trump. He is whatever weight he says he is.
Hey, you remember Ghostbusters 2? Hey, that's Vigo, man. That's Vigo. He got hit with the pink slime, and he transformed it into the painting. That's Vigo, man.
Oh my god.
Yo, what
That's
they
what he
didn't
looked like.
say is he had his lawyer holding his. He was holding under his elbows while they were weighing him. So he's 219 with the while he's leaning on a guy and two people are holding him up. Please.
Yeah, Donald Trump, man. What a legacy. What a legacy. The day he dies, I don't think anybody can feel bad about not holding back when he dies. My God. He earned that status.
Bro, there's only one grown man that made me want to cry when he died. I think this person, if he goes, I'll be the exact opposite. I want to throw a party.
Now let me say this. I went on record in saying early on, probably when the first indictment was going on, I went on record and saying, hey, look, I'm still voting for Trump. I can admit that, right? Based on the policy, not the person. But after all this stuff done happened, right? And I'm looking at it from a legal aspect. I don't see legally how he's gonna come up out of this before the election. Look, just think about it. We're talking about two cases dealing with J6. Well, now whether you agree with his involvement in J6, I mean that's irrelevant to this point. It's all about the people that's surrounding him, right?
Right.
When you look at the 14th Amendment, Article 3, which clearly says that anybody that's been that's held elected office and has been accused or found liable when it comes to sedition and treason cannot hold elected office again. Now, last week, was it last week or the beginning? No, yeah, it was last week. Last week, you had a couple of constitutional lawyers that's going through the motions now, putting together some cases for that particular article in the 14th Amendment. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to fall through or not, but what I'm saying is you got to start looking at this through a microscope now and actually see, okay, what's what in regards to what he did in the involvement of sedition. A lot of people want to try to like just throw that away like it's nothing. I'm not willing to do that at this point.
And I can't either. I can't do it either, MD. So that's a valid point. I can't do it. I just can't. And just sorry to interject, but when like I mentioned, when I did my citizenship test, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to literally study before you become a citizen of this country. That's one of the things that they brought up was one of the articles that you just mentioned. The other one was the freedom of speech. The other one was the Bill of Rights. If we're gonna sit here and make this man think that it's plausible in his sense or in his free will of mind to think that what he did was it's not gonna be repercussions for it, then you might as well just call it a day at this point, because everything that you told me what would make me an American is very un-American of what he did on January 6th at that time.
Right.
And every black person, and never forget the day after that day, every black person that I spoke to, they literally, the same consensus was, if it was a black person that did this, it would have went ham. But because it was this, and even and mind you, these are, Caucasian white people, whatever you want to say. These were white people that were coming to me and saying, there's no way that this would have flew by if this was, say, Obama or somebody else that did this. They would have went ham. But the fact that they were, his MAGA group was able to get away with this is very discerning to even think about at this point, because then what are we standing for this country? Is this just white fragility on overload on steroids, or is this just a whole bunch of things that snowballed into what we're seeing now. Because at this point, what are we standing for? Is this country standing for something anymore, or because we look like a laughing stock in that particular day? I don't even think the propaganda that every other country that dislike America, so that it's like you call yourself the beacon of hope and you did that on that particular day? No way. There's no way Donald Trump could think he could get away with this.
And then also, I'm sorry to interrupt, Ricardo, but there was also, I believe, a couple countries. They were like a similar thing after J6. After J6 happened, that they had a similar situation, and the very next day, the guy that orchestrated it went to jail. The very next day. So yeah, you can't just let this ride out. It's been 2 years now, over 2 years, and the justice system does work slow, but something should happen. Something needs to happen, because now you're telling everybody else that runs for president, you can do this, and this, and you can get away with it.
And here's the ironic thing about it. With the Fulton County indictment, everybody came in, but you got the lone Negro, Harrison Flores, the
Great
black
point,
portrait for
MD.
Trump dude, still sitting in Rice Street right now. Rice Street, that's Fulton County. That's what we call it.
And post the irony.
Great point, MD. That's a great point.
There. You mean to tell me you run this group and they can't get the bail money for you, my man? What's going on?
That's what happens when you sign up with people who won't rock with you. That's what you get. That's exactly where he needs to stay.
Yep, it speaks.
I know he in there looking sick. Like
stupid games.
And I hope they send him a message every day. Keep it together, buddy. We'll be right there.
What's that, Ricardo?
I said it's the perfect slogan for that is you played stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's what you win.
Ding, 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 ding.
Take that.
Yeah.
And let me say, for firsthand experience, Fulton County Jail is deplorable. A couple of months ago, somebody died in there from getting eaten alive by bed bugs.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Fulton County Jail ain't no joke, man.
God damn.
Hey, I've been.
It
in
only
jail.
took me one time to get booked in there. I said, I'm done. I go back to DeKalb County.
I was in jail.
At least I can live there.
8 hours, and I ain't want to go back.
Wow. That's crazy, man. Oh Lord, and I'm sure he has more coming too. I mean, there's gonna be more indictments. I mean, there's still more things to come.
And he's gonna win the presidency, and he's going to.
He ain't win that presidency. Joe Biden can fall asleep, piss on himself. He's not gonna win. There's no way he can win.
Guess when's the last time somebody said that? The president he won. I told everybody he gonna win, and everybody was like, "Man, you out of your mind. Trump ain't winning nothing." And then he had that little Hillary thing and that comment, and we'll see.
I don't know. Traditionally,
Venkat, don't sleep on DeSantis, because, like I said, if anything happened to Trump, DeSantis is the guy.
Yep. Y'all keep thinking, yo, what did I tell you earlier? These white people, they act like, oh no, it's okay. So when the shit hits the fan, they gonna do what they gonna do. They don't believe in these polls. People keep believing these polls. Oh, he's down 20%. You better go watch that Chris Rock movie. What's that Rock movie with him and Bernie Mac?
Oh yeah.
Remember what they did at the end? They put out that report. The Negro's gonna win. Then white people were like, no, that's what's gonna happen.
But the as far as like all these Republicans running right now, to me, the strongest one, the best one is Chris Christie, because he's actually the first one to go in on Trump. All these other guys were like trying to skirt around Trump. How you gonna be in politics and you're being cordial, overly cordial to your competition? Trump, when he ran in 2015, 2016, when he ran, he was very obscene and very rude to everybody. Jeb Bush, he didn't hold back. So like for these guys to like, oh, I don't want to anger the base. Like I like the way that Chris Christie is going. Even though Chris Christie, he's a jackass.
Yep.
But he's the best jackass that's on that podium. I think. I think as his history. Put aside the Bridgegate and those other things. Put aside
what about him trying to beat Trump's attorney general?
Yeah,
I get that.
He tried it. Yeah, I get that, and he did like kind of like respond to that and gave a reasoning, but he actually has a record that's not that bad. And when he was reelected, in his career in New Jersey. He got overwhelming support when he was reelected, and he was able to show that he could work across the aisle. He also got a lot of trash for working with Barack Obama during a time of need and a crisis, and he got ridiculed for that. But and his reasoning was great. He said, "Hey, I have a responsibility to the people of New Jersey, and I'm gonna do what it needs to be done to serve my people." So. He's the one that's the most competent and the most genuine.
Which is why we got to make sure he doesn't win.
Well, yeah, because he would probably beat Joe Biden.
That's what I'm saying. We need the biggest lunatic fringe. We need Drew. We need Drew Ambrose.
Right. Yeah, me personally, I like Chris Christie on the debate last week. I don't think he won the debate. I think Nikki Haley won the debate. That's just me. With Pence coming in second. But
Mike Pence is the biggest jackass of all time.
I agree. But
I ain't never seen a spineless jellyfish like him. How you gonna have a guy attack you and your family and then mums the word for years? And now he grew a half of a spine and wants to talk. Crazy.
Yeah, Mike Pence is a GOP useless rhino at the. I agree with that, but I have to commend him for what he did. Jay said, because he was the launching pad to say no, I'm not going for the go along with the get along MAGA group.
But that's a low bar, MD. That's a low bar.
But I mean, it's his job at the end of the day. He did what the Constitution told him to do, so I commend him for it.
Well, that's like me. Hey, I went into Best Buy. I didn't rob the place. I went in there, I paid, and I walked out. That bar is kind of low. But for Republicans, that's how it go, man. Low bars. Yeah, he's. Yep. I can't stand it. All he does is give word salads. He just passes out word salads all day.
Yeah, when you start talking about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I tuned out.
That man ain't prayed over nothing but dinner in the last 15 years.
Well, that's Chris Christie. Don't talk about the man like that.
Man, I talk about who I want. I'm a gangster out here, especially on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
I'm a thug on Tuesdays. I don't know why. It's just Tuesdays.
So before I get into the inflation, because we're going to talk about inflation, let's look at this video, and I want to get the whole panel's opinion on what he says. Basically, the video is entitled "How to Fix the Country in 3 Minutes." Check it out.
How to fix this country in 3 minutes. 1, no more stock buybacks. It's too much to get into, but corporations just can't do it anymore. The second is to tax stock gains. I don't know if you know this, but they don't tax stock gains until they cash it out. So if you're worth millions of dollars and you just want to take loans against your stock and never cash them out and just live off the loans and use money from your stock portfolio to pay back your loans, you never have to pay taxes. Third, reverse Reagan economics. Bring back the 90% top tax rate. Take investing out of politics. Any politician is no longer allowed to invest in the stock market. They can put their money into a fund and get double the price of inflation, no more, no less. Politicians should be forced to retire at the age of 65. If you can collect Social Security, you can't be a politician anymore. Implement a maximum wage, not a minimum wage, a maximum wage. You cannot make more than 100 times your minimum employee. Unionize everything in this country, from McDonald's workers all the way up. If
Bullshit.
UPS can make billions of dollars in profit and still be highly competitive in the market, where they do 20 to 30% of all packages and still pay people $50 an hour to drive a truck, other companies can figure it out too. If a company has one single employee file for any sort of food stamps or housing or Medicare, the company has to pay that back to the government before they can make a profit. Walmart made $186 billion last year and had almost $600 million worth of social debt that our taxpayers paid for. Make Walmart pay that first before they can make a profit. Eliminate the Electoral College. Only 2 presidents since the Civil War era have been elected by losing the popular vote: Donald Trump and George Bush. See a pattern? Joe Biden won by over 2 million votes, yet the election came down to 44,000 votes in 3 different states. Make them campaign to all of us, not just swing states. If you own a second home as a landlord or anything, you are not allowed to take depreciation, and you should be taxed on what your house gains in value as an investment. How do companies own 70 and 80 homes and yet collect rental income and still show a loss? Just imagine where our world could be with these simple and easy changes. Comment what changes you would make to make this country better. Let's start the discussion.
Oh,
That was amazing.
yeah. What do we think about some of those ideas or thoughts to help improve the country?
That food stamp one was fire. Yes, sir. They get away with so much. Oh my goodness.
You know where I'm at with Venkat.
Well, essentially, like especially Walmart, they're super notorious, right? They underpay their employees. Most of their staff has to go on to government assistance. Now they're leaning on the government and being a liability, and they're raking in profits year in, year out. So you should have a negative effect from doing stuff like that, because why should the government have to fund Walmart's employees or workforce?
Thoroughly agree. Thoroughly
That
agree.
I've always had a problem with that. It's ridiculous. So that would be a hell of an initiative to kind of like level the playing field in the right way, tilted at least.
Let's pick on Matt. Let's pick on MD. What you hate, MD?
You know where I'm at with it. Again, we got to stop looking at it from the people role and look at it from the business role. Again, you take subsidies away from businesses. First and foremost, if I had a suggestion that I would add to that, raise the financial requirement for being a public entity. That's what I would do. That way, you would have more companies being able to vie for competition in said market. It's all about competition. When you talk about capitalism, we don't live in a true capitalistic society. We don't. That's the problem. If we did, a lot of these things that y'all argue and bicker over would go away, because you would have more businesses vying for or specific roles in the economy, thus lowering stuff that you could affordably get. Period. But people don't want to look at it that way. They want to look at it as, oh, it's me.
I wish I could live in that dream
Mr.
world
Big
you live
doing
in.
this to me. Let's all fight against Mr. Big.
It must be so fun to live in that dream world you live in.
What dream world do I live in? I'm looking at, true capitalism is a dream world, because it's not here. So I agree with it from that aspect. But what I'm telling you is, if we had true capitalism, these things would go away.
True capitalism is impossible.
How's it impossible, Mike?
Because white supremacy.
Oh my God! There you go.
I've already told you this. They will always be in the market, so they will always bend the market towards them. They have the most of the money, so they can do it.
So you say white supremacy? Is it the black man that you're doing it off of racial lines, but it's not anything racial. We're talking about other white supremacists vying for competition against other white. If you want to use that, I'm just going off what you said.
And I'm telling you, that white supremacists going after white supremacists is just making more money for white supremacists. They'll continue to make their money. They'll continue to do it. Black people will not crack in. The second black people try to crack in, they're going to say, whoa, 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 Negro, go back to your basketball.
Why don't you crack into your own community? That's what cottage industry is for. See,
Because
you looking at it too
12%
big.
of the population.
What that got to do with it? A couple months ago, we was talking about putting money in the pot, and you get that. That ain't got nothing to do with it. We talking about sustaining our own community. That's all I give a damn about.
I've already told you, people are stupid. Black people are part of that stupidity too, and it'll never occur. That's why the government has to.
Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Stupidity stupidity isn't a sort of ethnic group trait.
I agree.
It's a human trait.
He was talking about black people specifically, and they stupid. Yeah, everybody's stupid.
Well, the only reason I said that because you said white supremacy.
Right.
Well,
When I
say
say white supremacy, I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about the way that things are, whereas no matter what happens, things will lean toward white people because white people will live that. That's the way they are. If we have a situation here, but he looks like me, I'm going to go ahead and give him the job. It's just the way things are.
Yeah, that's true.
The way things are. Oh, this Negro had the nerve to kneel in America. How dare him? He doesn't get to play quarterback anymore.
Right.
But I thought it was a meritocracy. What's a meritocracy? We're white.
Well, that's BS. That's BS too. I don't go off of meritocracy, but I will say the same thing that you're displaying can be done in your own community. Hey, you ain't got to hire no white man if you don't want to. That's the glory of a true capitalistic society. Take away all the subsidy, take away all the antitrust, take away all the tariffs and everything. What do you have after that?
You'll have people who are already in positions of power who will leverage their power against people who make decisions to make sure the shit still goes the way that they wanted to go to make more money.
Right.
Hell are you talking about?
Case in point, what Mike is saying, which is very, it's true though. It's valid. It's valid.
That's what's happening now.
It's valid because think back, what was it, about a year and a half ago, Wall Street Bets, that Reddit group, when they put all their money, they pooled their money together, propped up a struggling, a struggling stock, and what happened?
Talking about GameStop.
Right. And Bed Bath and Beyond. They did a bunch of. They did AMC Theater.
Shout out to them. I made good money with them. Shout out.
Right. So when that happened and it backfired on the venture capitalist people that were betting against it, they ended up losing a lot of money. What happened then? Well, first of all, Robinhood, they stopped people from betting.
Yep.
Right. which their policy is 100%. To give the poor to the rich, get from the rich to the poor, and you have no limits on your trading and all this stuff. That went out the window as soon as a rich organization got in trouble, and then they were able to.
My point, though, Venkat.
No, but you're saying you're saying a 100% capitalistic environment, but it won't work because they'll always bail each other out. They'll always concentrate the money amongst themselves, and you're always going to have this big disparity between the rich and the poor.
Yes,
it's not going to work.
If it was a higher financial requirement for these stocks,
that
wouldn't have happened. That's what I'm telling you.
If there was a higher requirement for the stocks, they wouldn't have been able to do it in the first place.
The companies wouldn't be public. I agree with that part.
Bro, you're bugging. Just like
more privatization is the key.
No, it's not, because the people who are in power to make more privatized company are the same people I'm talking about.
We're not talking about private companies. You ain't said a private company yet.
Bro.
Again, but it comes down to monopoly, right? The monopoly and the oligopoly. So it's
I agree. You correct. Monopolies. Monopolies are created how? Through the government. So y'all arguing my point.
No, sir. You are bugged out. I still love you though.
Wait a minute. You said the monopolies are created through the government?
Yeah,
That's
through
what he said.
subsidies. You can't become a monopoly without the government's help.
I mean,
You
I don't know
can't
about
do it, Venkat. You can't do it.
I don't
You
know
can't
about
do it.
that. I don't know. I don't know, MD. I don't
You
know.
can't do it.
Yeah. We'll see, MD.
The
Yo,
reason
I
you
really,
can't do
I
it because
really
of the
wish,
supply and demand.
I really wish
And
I could
that's some
invent something.
bullcrap too, though. That's supply and demand.
Supply and demand is
That
bull.
went
Oh
out the
my
window as
God.
well. That went out the window as well because,
Supply and
like,
demand is
for
bull crap.
instance, for exactly because like they're talking about, oh, we can't hire people. We can't hire people. Well, shouldn't the demand for more people be a demand for a higher wage? We didn't see no higher wages. The wages
Sure
stayed
haven't.
stagnant.
That's where COVID.
So yeah, it's all bull. Like since 2020, a lot has been cleared up. I mean, you got to pay attention to what's going on here because all these myths and theories and things we used to just accept as fact, all that stuff is out the window. All that stuff has been we've seen during the George Floyd thing. We see cops on video doing the white power sign, and the guy is saying, "Yeah, see, he's with us. He's with us." Like the cops, the whole thing with the cops, as far as like, oh, they're here to serve and protect, and oh, you're supposed to. They're good cops out here, and you can't judge all the good cops by the few bad bunches, and that went out the window. We clearly saw all these things happening. So you have to not pay attention to it to not see it, but it's all there in clear, plain sight. And with these cameras on our phones and all the accessibility, it's more evident now than it ever was. When rappers talked about this in the 80s and the 90s, it was brushed off as nonsense. Now it's like, commonplace now. So
Venkat,
I don't know.
If I'm getting a government subsidy and I'm a company, and that government subsidy goes into my production costs, why would I need to hire anyone else? Why?
You always have to hire somebody. There's always somebody to
Listen,
do.
let me say it again. Let me say
Oh
it again.
Lord. Go ahead.
If I'm a company,
Yeah.
despite whether production is high based on the demand or not, if I'm offsetting that cost with government subsidies, why would I hire somebody else?
Okay. So So let's say you go with that model, right? Okay, so you're running a business under that model where you're getting subsidies from a government. However, you're understaffed. You don't have the proper staffing to run the business efficiently. What happens to a dysfunctional, mismanaged, inefficient business that doesn't run properly? You then gain a reputation and an understanding that you are subpar. When you're subpar to the consumer, what happens at that point? You get fired. People don't shop or people don't buy your particular product. So that's a self-defeating process right there. At the end of the day, and that's my problem with capitalism too in this economy, right? Because if you look and you critically look at the goods and services that you get, something you bought on Amazon, or you go out to dinner and eat somewhere, you'll notice you're getting subpar service and products. And when the point is driven home in this economy to make profits, that means you've got to put in very little and make more, meaning you're having a degraded product and you're trying to capitalize on selling something that's cheap for you that you can get more money from them. And that's a race to the bottom. That's bottom feeding. And that's what I don't like. Actual excellence, actual quality is not the order of the day. It's making profits hand over fist by any means necessary.
You got to pay for quality.
Exactly. I rather quality because I'm tired of, I don't know how many times I bought certain things and you're like, it just breaks down or messes up in a few months and you got to buy another. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And
What do you
sometimes
mean?
you buy
What do you mean it shouldn't be? If
it shouldn't be.
if I make a handcrafted item versus
Yeah.
a manufactured item, you mean to tell me that my handcrafted item is not worth more than that manufactured item? Is that what you're saying?
It depends though. It depends.
Oh wow. Wow.
It depends. I mean, handcrafted sounds nice,
Wow.
but it
So
sounds
the
nice.
hell with my craftsmanship is what you're saying.
You can make a handcrafted piece of garbage.
Exactly.
And you gonna pay more for it.
I'm not.
No.
Well, go to Walmart.
That's where I go.
Speaking of Walmart, their great value line is just ass. It's straight trash.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Hey, those 73-cent flavored waters are the greatest thing ever invented. I know it's probably killing me slowly inside, but it's cheap and filling. Thank you so much, Walmart. I've never thought I'd like an apple drink. It is delicious.
Nah, Walmart is straight trash, man. My God.
Hey, I agree, but ain't nothing else popping.
You know what's good?
You know,
Target's house brand is great. Sometimes their brand is better than the brand name stuff. The Target brand. I always buy when I buy their stuff. I don't have to worry. If you bought a great value item or whatever the hell they want to call it today, because it's been so bad for decades that they probably have to change the goddamn name. It's kind of like Burma.
It's a great value though.
It's kind of like Burma. They've been doing atrocities, human violations all these decades. They got embarrassed, they got exposed, and they changed the name to Myanmar, whatever the hell they call it. I don't even call it that. It's still
and
Burma.
guess what? Target brand stuff is higher quality than Walmart. Thus, it's more expensive. Publix brand.
No, that's
is a higher quality. Really. What do you mean, not really?
Not really, because I've caught Walmart being something. If they're lower, it's 96 cents versus 99, and sometimes they're not lower. But I ain't bugging up. That's been the MO. I've noticed that for years. I don't even shop at Walmart regularly.
Don't make me agree with Mad Dog. What's wrong with you?
I'm not bugging. I'm telling the truth.
When it's 11:30 at night and you need something, you're behind
Walmart. Yep. Because them same sodas I'm talking about, 73 cents at Walmart. I go to Publix, it'd be $1.50 something. I'm like, man.
Exactly.
And that's how I know I'm cheap, because I'll be like, I ain't getting it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what about that chronic illness you're developing by
drinking? I said it in there. I said it early. I said I know I'm dying slowly. I said it.
Yeah, you can't like I said, everything is self-induced. When we talking about consuming products, it's not about the government making us do it. It's the supply and demand in which is cheaper, which is higher. If we had again more of privatized industry handling all of this and not monopolies and government subsidies, and once somebody come into play and they invoke antitrust, that'll cancel everything out, Venkat. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand.
I don't know, MD.
But you want to bring down the hammer and sickle, and that's just not going to work.
Hey, just so everybody knows, that pina colada, the 73-cent joint, the pina colada's fire. You can get the blue raspberries fire. They got one that tastes like the red, white, and blue cone we used to get at the ice cream truck. That thing fire, boy. Stop playing with yourself. Go try it.
That's liquid diabetes there, Mike.
There's no actual sugar in it, sir.
No
no
come
calories.
on.
That's why I did it, because there's no calories. There's no calories. There's no carbs. That's why I drink it, because I could drink that and eat cake and I'm all right. I'm playing.
It'll cancel out.
It balances it out. Everybody out there drinking Coke, you dying. Coke is killing you. But the one I'm drinking ain't no carbs in it. We good money. I'm gonna send y'all a picture. I'm telling you, try it at Walmart.
One Coke a day.
You gonna drink? Hey, Coke is bad. I'm saying one Coke is more than 15 of them things I drink. I'm trying to tell you. I drink one, and them joints is fire, and you get more liquid than you do in Cokes. Them joints, man. Let me go find one. I know I got one in the house somewhere. I'm telling you, them things are fantastic. If y'all live near me, I would drive to your house and drop one on your doorstep right now.
All right, so let's go back to the show now. We'll go into pretty much one of the last the last segments here. We'll have a discussion here on in the inflation, what's been going on in the economy. I want to show this video that kind of breaks down inflation to a certain degree. So let's see what the panel thinks about this video.
Inflation. Everyone's talking about it, but ignoring one of its biggest causes, corporate concentration. Now, prices are undeniably rising, but everybody's ignoring the deeper structural reason for price increases, the concentration of the American economy into the hands of a few corporate giants with the power to raise prices. Corporations are raising prices even as they rake in record profits. For example, in April 2021, PepsiCo raised prices, blaming higher costs for ingredients, freight, and labor. It then recorded $3 billion in operating profits through September. How did it get away with this without losing customers? Pepsi has only one major competitor, Coca-Cola, which promptly raised its own prices. Coca-Cola recorded $10 billion in revenues in the third quarter of 2021, up 16% from the previous year. Get the picture? The underlying problem is not inflation, it's corporate power.
Greed.
All right, so tonight's State of the Union, we're talking inflation and corporate greed. One of the things that is clearly driving the real cost of this inflation, but on the news, they tend to ignore that, and they're talking about stimulus money. They're talking about people getting higher wages, which they're not,
or people don't want to work.
Right. People are going to
Right.
work. They blame Joe Biden. They blame everything. But this really big elephant in the room, which is corporate greed.
And you
What
know
do we
why they
think of
do
this?
that? Because all the news agencies are bought and sold, bought by the same 5 people that own all of them across the country. Look it up if you think I'm lying.
I mean, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. So what do you think, MD, as far as the inflation being driven by corporate greed, marking up prices? So let's say the inflation price on an item is $1.99, but the corporate interest will then increase the price to maybe $5.50, and they'll take that and they'll have record profits, obviously going over a period of time. So you have a point where we're struggling financially, most Americans, and we're supposed to pull back financially, but the corporations are actually having record profits during this time of struggle. What do you think about this, MD?
I agree with what he said. Again, it goes back to my point. We're looking at a few high tier companies that are able to position themselves in these situations. When you talk about means of production, right?
Mm-hmm.
With everything pretty much going to automation and things of that nature, you talk about what the true meaning of inflation is, which is a whole lot of money, not enough product. What the monopolies do is a whole lot of money, not enough demand in production, and try to use that as an excuse. So from what you said earlier, Venkat, I totally agree as far as production work. I don't take away from that. But at the same time, when you're getting propped up and not needing to boost production because you're offsetting that cost from something else, that gives these companies the incentive to bolster prices from a facade of booster production when it's really just an illusion. You see what I'm saying? The illusion of high prices for ingredients. The illusion
they're using the inflation environment as the excuse. People are expecting prices are higher because of inflation, so then they'll just automatically accept this even more inflated price.
Right, because they're giving the illusion of less supply. when in
Right.
actuality it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
Yeah,
just less means of production.
Right, like the egg companies, they did that in spectacular fashion. They claim that the hens were subjected to some sort of sickness, and during a conference call with their donors, they disclosed that there was no sickness or virus that went out with the hens that slowed the production of the eggs. They just used that as an excuse at the time, but 6 months later they disclosed that there was nothing, and they just raised the price, and that's why eggs were so expensive. So you just have a CEO sitting there and say, just mark up the price because we have a nice cover with the inflation. And I think consumers need to recognize that as a real thing. And for me, I look at it hard, and so I'm looking at like which company, and I'm buying in other places or other directions whenever I can.
Exactly. And to use your egg analogy again, what if there was more production as far as independent farms? Now I know that's complex, right? I ain't gonna try to say, oh well, look at this, look at that. I'm just thinking hypothetical.
Yeah.
So if you got more production in independent farms, that takes the price down just for the mere fact that there's more supply in the market.
But you're gonna need subsidy.
Why would I need a subsidy to go out and sell eggs out on the street? Plenty
Because
people
you
do
can
it.
only sell in one city. You
Pretty
can't
much.
sell across the country.
Well, what about a whole bunch of farms around the country? I ain't just saying just me myself nationalizing eggs from off the side of the street.
Right, but
what if it was a million of them?
If all those little companies that have to do it by themselves are going to have to pay higher price. You're going to have to pay higher prices to get it. It's not going to be.
I disagree with that because you're flooding the market.
You can't flooding the market only works when one company is doing it. If everybody's doing it, it's not flooding the market. It's everybody for themselves trying to do it. I'll give you a good.
You're right. Everybody for themselves. For themselves.
That's not flooding the market though.
Equals lower prices.
No, it doesn't. It only equals if they're doing it mass, en masse.
I just said in mass.
Right, but in mass is not, bro. If every single body in the world decided we're gonna sell CDs, that don't mean that me selling CDs is gonna get cheaper. No, because I still have the overhead. I still have to go buy from the CD company, which is selling the CDs higher now because everybody's buying CDs.
Nobody said you ain't gonna have no overhead. I ain't never say that.
Let me finish. That's not the point. The overhead isn't the point. The point is the reason things get cheaper is because a company can mass produce it and they get it cheaper from the original company.
That's not true. That's not.
That is true.
That ain't true.
That is true.
That ain't true. It don't matter. It don't matter where it come from. If it's in the same market, prices go down.
Why is
Walmart is a distributor? Because it's a distributor.
Why is Walmart cheaper than everybody? Why do you sound like that?
Can you hear me?
Mike, your mic.
Do better. Get better Wi-Fi.
Oh, it's not you, Mike.
That's you, Mike. That ain't me.
Mike, your mic.
That's me?
Yeah, that's you.
I need to get better Wi-Fi then.
Yeah. Subsidize that.
I wish they would.
I just want to recognize.
Like I was saying.
No, okay.
It's not one company doing something on a mass scale. It's the supply. It don't matter where it come from. It's the supply itself that turns the prices down. So that was a false claim that Mike made. Second of all, when you're dealing with one specific product, the means of production plays a huge role. Now, of course, the monopolies have an advantage because they means of production is on a broader scale and faster than a person that's on the farm. I get that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, it's going to be tortoise and the hare. It ain't something that's just going to pop up overnight. That ain't possible. But what I'm telling you, if we get more privatized businesses in the long run, it's going to benefit the consumer. In the long run, I understand that Walmart got a better means of production than all the bigger companies. That's not the point. The point is to get it on the market. Don't matter how long.
Right.
Yeah, but
Hold on
MD,
1 second. I'm trying to get Mike on. I'm trying to get Mike back on. Keep
yeah,
going.
but MD, what about when you mention production though? What happens when these companies like Procter and Gamble start shrinking the items that they're making, and you're projecting to the consumers, hey, it's the same value that you're getting. Meanwhile, you're shrinking the actual item. So if the item was like 1 gallon per se, and it shrank to like 1 milliliter, but you're gonna tell me like, hey, you know what? It's still the same amount that you were getting before in the 1 gallon. It's not the same. It's basically just shrinking the package. You know what I mean? For the
That's
same
a great
value.
For a
point. That's
cheaper
a
price.
great point. Great point, Ricardo.
Well, I mean, that's up to consumer. Like if the consumer want 1 gallon as opposed to a half gallon, I mean, But again, that's why the competition sets the standard for an identical item. An identical item. So trying to make ways of shrinking stuff or whatever, that's something else. We're talking about competition for an identical item is what we're talking about. What that means is I can produce something cheaper based on my means of production. Therefore, my item is going to sell faster than the other item. That's capitalism at the end of the day. That's competition. I don't got no issue with that. Y'all might got it. I don't have an issue with that.
Am I better?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, all I'm saying is I don't have an issue with whoever is the cheapest and has the efficient quality for me. That's who I'm gonna buy. What I'm saying is a company shouldn't have the right to be offset by the government based on their failures in the supply and demand. That's where the monopolies come from.
Could you please give me an example of anywhere in history where 1 billion companies were selling the same product and that product was cheap? Because it's never going to happen. I don't know why y'all agree with him. It can never happen. It's impossible.
Again, I understand that.
Give me the name of the. Give me the name. Something.
Bro, ain't nobody selling. I just made that hypothetical. Ain't nobody selling 1 million.
Right, because the hypothetical is bullcrap. It cannot happen. But if 1 million companies are selling eggs, they all have to sell them for the price point that they can. That's it.
They can, but they can do it cheaper based off of what the inflation rate is. If the inflation rate,
you just made that up,
bro. If the inflation rate if the inflation rate is being based off of whatever that company is doing, why do I have to base my price off of their production? Why do I have to do that? I don't have to do that in order to make a profit.
Yeah, some companies will probably undercut it, and then they'll make it up. They'll make up the money.
They won't have to undercut it
with the quantity.
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. They don't have to undercut it. Say I'm selling. I'm the biggest egg producer in the world, and I'm selling eggs for $15. Right, $15 an egg. Okay, and then but before that, everybody was getting eggs at $3. Right, I was giving eggs that you were getting $3 an egg. Okay, then I'm like, you know what? I heard bread raise their prices. Y'all ain't gonna get no egg and cheese off me for cheap, so I'm gonna raise my prices too. So now $15. Then everybody goes, I can sell eggs cheaper than that. So people come out and now they start selling eggs for what? Because they're all single companies, the lowest price point they can sell eggs at, because they don't have the corporation that I do. This, let's say $7. Okay, so now they're all selling at $7. And then I go, well, I'm selling it for $6.50. I'm still screwing everybody. Everybody's still getting screwed.
Is the price not cheaper?
No, because $3 was the original price.
Again,
you're still getting effed.
Again,
it's the same thing with sneakers.
If you go to Walmart,
$60. It used to be $40 to get some Nikes. Then they jacked it up to $100-something. Then all these other companies came out and they had to bring it back down to, all right, so it's $100. $100 is the average price. Now it's $100. It used to be $40. You still get screwed.
Why did they jack it up, Mike? Why did they jack it up?
Because they could. Because Michael Jordan said I could jump, and y'all said, "Oh, I want to jump like Mike."
You just proved my point.
Yeah, no,
You the Negroes that were bought the Nike. I bought the Nikes. Okay.
I didn't buy the Nikes. I ain't buy no Nikes.
Once they saw the supply, when supply is up, and I'm sorry, when demand is up, guess what's gonna go up also? That's just a rule of the world.
Bro, you just took a goalpost from an old argument and trying to throw it into this argument that we talking about.
You the one said it. I didn't.
I'm talking about the eggs, and you talking about something different now.
Bro, you went to the Jordans. I ain't go to the Jordans.
But I'm talking about the price points. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about trying to flood the market. You cannot flood the market with a bunch of different companies. That doesn't exist.
You can.
You can't. But the market has to be done by a big corporation because they have the lowest price point. They can flood the market. If everybody on the block selling nickel bags and I have all the weed in the world and I go, I'm selling nickel bags for $2 because I can afford it. I might make only $1 per bag, and everybody else trying to make $2 per bag. But that $1 per bag on the mass amount that I'm gonna sell is gonna be more money than everybody else. Now I knock everybody out of contention.
That's the point.
Yes, but that can only be done by a big company. It can't be done by a bunch of mom and pop.
That's not
what
true.
I'm telling you.
That's not true. Now I will concede to this. As your demand go up, your boost of production gonna go up, so you may have to hike slightly. But still, the fact of the matter is you start off to get in the competition ring. That's the point.
But you're not going to be in the competition. The big corporation will always beat you. That's why mom and pops don't.
If they beat you, what they gonna have to do, Mike? We just talked about demand. What are they gonna have to do?
Demand always goes with the big company. Always. Wow. What world do you live in?
Yo, I guess it go for you because you said you buy the great value. I don't necessarily like, so I guess you're right from that aspect.
I surely do.
But sometimes you don't want the great value. Sometimes you want the Bertolli. Sometimes you want the Perrier. Sometimes you want stuff.
What they have for people like that? Coupons.
Mike.
That's when I go on sale. Ooh, Bertolli's is buy one get one free.
Yes, I know.
Hey, I just wanna recognize Ricardo with the super chat, and we got Nini with the super chat. We appreciate the love and the support there. Continue, carry on.
I'm glad that it's a show that Trevor had nothing to do with.
Hey, like I said, I can see the Mike. I can see. I guess we all just got to get store brand bought stuff. I mean, and that because that's the cheapest. So I can't. Who am I? I can't buy it. You know what I'm saying? I
now
must
you changing the goalposts. I didn't say you
no.
can't
I'm going off
buy
of what you said. I must submit to the value brand.
That's not what
That's what you're telling me.
I said you cannot flood the market as a mom and pop. That's what I'm saying. A mom and pop can't flood the market. It's impossible.
But you several mom and pops can.
Mom and pops, and they flood the market.
That ain't true, Mike. Several mom and pops can.
But Mike,
they don't have enough product.
But there have been mom and pops that have done so well that they became a big company.
And I guarantee you, every single one of them were in a place that had a drought in what they raged out in. They were in a place that had a drought in what they were giving. They were in a special set of circumstances. But what we're talking about is if there's already a big distributor of something, and then a mom and pop wants to come, we'll do it like this. Let's say MD's grandma and my auntie come together and they make a brand new type of cigar. And they say, we're going to put Black & Mild out of business. We got a banging cigar. We're selling it for $1 a cigar. And we rolling up, they fire. They putting them out, they fire. Me and MD on TV with the cigars and the commercials, they fire. They can put as many of those out as they want. Black & Mild ain't going nowhere. They'll never be able to outprice Black & Mild because Black & Mild has a distributorship. They have they already have a thing laid out. It is impossible for you to attack. You ever heard of it? When's the last time you heard of a new soda company? Think about that. When's the last time you heard of a new soda? Every time you hear of a new soda, it's from you remember when Starry first dropped and everybody was like, ooh, Starry, it's a new soda. That ain't nothing but Pepsi trying to make Sprite.
Pepsi. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a watered down version of Sprite. It literally is watered down.
Yeah.
You can't make a new soda.
So bad
it's impossible.
they switched up.
I think Sierra Mist is better than Starry.
unless you're gonna put cocaine in it like they used to. New sodas ain't popping. It don't matter. You might have a little regional hit. You remember when they were like, "Ooh, everybody like the what's that bullcrap they like? Everybody like the vitamin water. Vitamin water's gonna take over." Guess what? Pepsi bought it. That's what's gonna happen. Somebody gonna buy it, and now it's theirs. You can't. Moms and pops can't. Those days are over.
Though. 50 Cent by choice. By choice, he sold vitamin water.
Right.
Sir, you can call it by choice if you want. Ain't nobody broke turning down hundreds of millions of dollars. It just ain't happening. You can call it a choice. That's like people say, he had a choice. He had a knife to her throat and said, either I'm gonna kill you or something horrible. That feels like a choice, but you're gonna do the one to save your life. It is what it is. So if you want to call it a choice, I'm with you. It's a choice. Cool.
All right. So we're about to wrap up the show. This is a great conversation. I
should have been a lawyer. Damn. I'm nice.
It's an awesome conversation all night long, and these subjects are really great to have. But now I just want to, before we get into the final nightcap video, I just want to reiterate that tomorrow on Straight Talk with Trevor, we're going to have the Wrestling with Reality show covering Bray Wyatt and the All In show from AEW. That'll be episode 21. It'll be me, Trevor, MD, and others. And we'll just break down that All In event, which was phenomenal. I only saw the last piece of it.
That's my name now, Others? I'm Others?
I said Mike.
No,
Mike.
you didn't. You said
I
me,
did.
Trevor, MD, and Others.
Come on, Mike. I said your name.
Go back and listen to this tape.
Starting with Mike.
Nah, don't start with me. I'm Others. I'm Others. My feelings are decimated.
Oh, man. Well,
yeah, I'm
in
looking
tomorrow.
forward to tomorrow. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I want to hear Mike take on the CM Punk thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a big jam-packed show tomorrow. There's a lot to cover, including the CM Punk controversy, drama, whatever you want to call it.
And special guest starring Others.
Yep. And then also on Straight Talk exclusively, we're going to have the Bible Brothers. And
he said it like it was a tag team.
And they're gonna be asking the question, is the Holy Ghost God? And that's gonna be live August 31st at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check out Trevor and the crew on this special edition of Straight Talk Sessions.
I asked around. I heard Others might be there.
Oh my God. He's never gonna let it down.
I'm not. I'm really not.
Oh man.
I'm already planning other ways to bring Others into a conversation.
It's like when Shaq says the Others.
Yeah, it hurts so bad. He's like, yeah, you got the big dogs and then you got the Others.
All right. So any final words before we sign off? I'm gonna play the nightcap video, which is a short video, and we'll just discuss that, and then we'll close out the show. But any final words or sentiments or anything at this point, Mike?
Hey, great show, man. Like I said, I was looking forward to this. Hopefully we can be consistent with it and come up with more topics for y'all, man. Like I said, this is my lane, so this is another show for me to get into. I love it.
Free MD 20 is all.
He made the eagle sound. I'm a child.
Ricardo, any last words?
The only thing I want to say, I don't know what's gonna be the precursor going forward, but this was an awesome show. A lot of times us Black gentlemen don't get to have a platform to discuss our political views because sometimes people feel like we're not supposed to, or we don't get the right amount of recognition to discuss certain things. But this is a start. I like what the show has brought to the forefront. I like what you've done so far, Venkat. Kudos, great job to both you and Trevor. Straight Talk Society. I don't even know what our group is going to be called, or if we have a tagline for the Straight Talk Society camp, or we need something. We need something, man. It's like we need something at this point. But great job so far, MD. We're gonna free you, or you need to free yourself.
Damn, I done did the bird call once, man. I ain't got it in me another time.
You know what? But my peoples, my community, please do better. We can do better. Please don't, give the other group reasons to not think we could. We saw what happened in Alabama. We could do more of that, and I need to see more of that going forward. That's my last point.
All right, awesome. I appreciate having everybody here tonight. This was great experience, and we look forward to more shows. And again, I don't look at this as my show. Everybody has an input in this, and whatever subjects or whatever we want to discuss, we're all a part of it, and we all can, add to that. So we're going to keep the show going, and we have a lot more. We haven't even scratched the surface on things we need to discuss, things we need to touch on. All right, so I'm just going to play this little short video. It's like 56 seconds. It's pretty much white people rewriting history. Here we go.
So y'all see he did it to me again, right?
Or 200 years ago, when the blacks were slaves.
He did. I'm others again. He did it to me
go
again,
to Washington.
Right? What are you talking about, Mike? What you said? What did I forget you? I thought you said this. You were the first one, wasn't it?
MD was yo.
Oh,
play
okay.
Play your video.
No.
Play your video.
Too many M's for Venkat.
No, Mike.
Nah,
I know
cool.
what
It's cool. I know where I stand. I know where I stand. I thought I was back for a second, but I know my place. Play your video.
No.
I already changed my name.
Come on, Mike.
Others apparently. I got you.
No. What happened was, I know what happened. What happened was, I said, okay, Mike, and then MD talked. So in my mind, I was thinking you already went. That's my fault.
Oh no, that's cool.
You're not an others. You're not an
others. Play your video. Others is watching.
Oh my God. All right. We're gonna play the video and then we'll comment on it.
50 years ago, or 200 years ago, when the blacks were slaves, did they ever go to Washington, D.C. and have a rally 200 years ago to protest against slavery? Did they? No. What did they do? Well, a lot of good people in the plantations would say, hey, it's wintertime. Let us help build a church for you, dear folks. And they loved them and taught them how to read so they can read the Bible. And here's what the blacks did about 150 years ago. They humbled themselves. They prayed. They sought God's face and they turned from their wicked ways. And God made slavery illegal through several white presidents, right? It worked, didn't it? They didn't protest.
What the hell?
So, go ahead.
Nah, I'm in shock. Well, hey, that's Christian extremism at the end of the day. So,
right, and it's just amazing how, the slave masters, they had a Bible, and I guess in their mind they justified everything they were doing. But here you got a dumbass of today that's literally trying to change and erase and manipulate history, right? So when you see Ron DeSantis doing what he does in this state of Florida that I'm in, at least, that's problematic, because when you have the schools not teaching the history correctly, it leaves the door open for a fat dumbass like this to come in and co-opt history. And that's the dangers of this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else had any other feedback on this video?
That's the dangers of conservatism. and that's why I don't stand on it. You know what I mean? That's because that's a major part of it. And when we talk about pandering, this is where a lot of it comes from that Christian identity movement, and they go solely off of that and base politics off of it. When we got something written in stone called the Constitution that clearly is against that. But hey, who am I?
You know who else is against the Constitution? Trump. Yeah, he admitted it this year. Completely admitted.
When you say you want to get rid of the Constitution, and again, like I said, from a policy aspect, people try to tie me into conservatism because of some of the but my policy is based on the Constitution. Once you start going against that, that's when we got a problem.
Right.
Wink, wink.
All right, fellas. It's been great. Have a great night. We'll see you again next week. And give me any ideas about show topics or any story topics you want to do. Be more than happy to fill it in. I do have some ideas for the next show, but again, it's an open forum. Everyone on the panel, everyone has the same power to influence the direction of the show. Any closing words for the last time? Mike, I'll start with you.
The others.
A chance for redemption here. Mike, please.
It's funny because you just skipped me to when I wanted to make a comment about the video and you went right past me again. But it's all right.
Oh my God.
My feelings are all right. I just want the world to see. I want the world to see. They go, why is Michael always so loud? And why is Michael always so in your face? Because people like Venkat have ignored me my entire life, and I had to fight for my position. I have to stand on my P's and Q's and on my 10 toes down so people don't push me down. Don't let them hold you down out there. POP holding it down. I'm legally blind.
So we not only got a free MD, we got a free Mike.
Big facts. Free others.
A free. My God.
Free others.
Yeah. You got to choose another bird.
Yeah, I ain't even a bird. I'm not even good enough to be a bird. I'm other.
Oh,
damn.
I'm after vultures. They're like, we got hummingbirds, we got eagles, we got parrots, and the rest of them. Michael's in there somewhere.
This other thing is turned into a freaking movement. I don't know what the hell happened.
That's Trevor's joy. Trevor's joy is for me to be relegated to second status. That's his joy. That's his pleasure.
Why it sound like a movie title though? The Others.
It is. It's a horror movie.
And I bet they wrote it with the gray follicles in his beard. You bastard.
Any other parting words as we boogie out?
You see, his wife's even joining in on it, right? I thought she was team retrograde, but she just throwing. Yeah, see. The evil Johnsons.
The evil Johnsons.
Yeah. Wow. I'm gonna go ahead and just go listen to the audiobook because I'm appreciated on Audible. They actually have my name. It doesn't just come up and go others. It actually says my name. Great show, gentlemen. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to bring more than others' energy. I'll try better next time if I'm allowed on the show. They might forget. He might forget to send me the link.
No.
This is what I wanted to say, but I wasn't given a chance to say it. At the end of the day, white supremacy will always be position one for white upper class. That's what I was trying to tell y'all. You see, they're all, hey, we got to make sure we come together. We do it. Hold up, what happened? Were there Negroes there? Oh, no, we can't have that. It's always position number one for white elites. It's always position one. They're all inclusive until they're not on top. Once they're not on top, everything goes to position one, white people first. Hold up, we're back on top? Okay, let's start acting like we care. That's why Democrats ain't ish, because they're the main ones that do it. That's why black people respect Republicans, because they hate you to your face.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with that.
You probably have it in your contract to agree with others. Y'all go ahead.
Ricardo?
Nothing else to add other than great show. Yeah, white fragility will always be an issue in this country. Just like, they can't get over the fact that there were black Kemet people. We don't call it Egypt, but that's a whole other story that I got in trouble for when I was in high school, because I brought it to the attention that not all Egyptians were white, and my teacher wanted to took it upon himself to tell me I was wrong, like I'm some kind of idiot from somewhere. So it wasn't until I brought facts, and he was like, "Oh, well, look at you, Mr. Reeves, thinking that you could like school me, the teacher. No, I'm schooling you on my culture that you're trying to tell me that I don't know nothing about, but you can excuse yourself out." Everybody went, "Ooh, nah." It's one of them things that I think us black people need to teach, or as parents teach our kids, so that when that time comes when they have to do a school project, nobody's telling them some kind of misinformation that they don't, we don't need to be arguing about, but kind of have to. So, I leave with that point that, we need to take on the mantle of teaching our kids our own history and not leave it onto others to do. And that's it.
Real quick question, Ricardo.
Hmm?
Are black people indigenous to Egypt?
Are they indigenous?
Yeah.
If you
Native,
add it,
whatever word you want to call it.
Yes.
if you want to add in the fact that we were a part of Kush, then yes, because Kush and Kemet were two entities together. So yes, they would be.
You sure about that?
All people come from black people, so we're indigenous to
That
everywhere.
ain't the question I asked. I asked, were black people indigenous to Egypt?
I said all people come from black people, so everywhere in the planet is indigenous for us. Negro.
Okay. Okay. Hey, I believe that another show for another day.
Oh yeah, that's for another show, MD.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
I wasn't told to speak. I apologize. I'll wait for
Oh my God. All right. Thank you guys so much. Everyone have a great night. We're going to go ahead and sign off now. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Straight Talk Society, Straight Talk with Trevor YouTube and Facebook channel. Tomorrow is Wrestling with Reality. Big show tomorrow. And for my co-host, panel members, have a great night, and we will see you guys on the next one. Thank you.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.
He didn't name us because he didn't want to forget me again.
Oh my God.